Hey everybody, welcome to the Player's Deck episode 121. I'm your host, Justin and Montrell, joined by my co-host. He's very angry at Square Enix, Montrell Rice. How are you doing, man?
I'm all right. How you doing?
Good. I mean, we've had a couple days of E3 now pass us by. We still have the PC Games show today, which, we're not going to wait for to record. But, if anything comes from it, we'll talk about it next week. But it's exciting, man. We're back in, we've got E3 and we got announcement season is back. We didn't really have it last year. So it's kind of nice to be back in this realm, even if, some of the conferences haven't been very good. We'll talk about those for sure. But overall, though, it's just nice to have it back,
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think this conference kind of proved. I don't know. I'll save it for later. But
Okay.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you're listening to this shortly after it went live, this is not our normal posting date. This is going up on Sunday, the 13th of June. And that is because we wanted to split the conferences up in order to not have a 5-hour show 1 week next week, basically. So so we're splitting them up. Next week's show should go up as normal on Friday. I don't think there's any reason for us to move the date on that at this time. But if there is, we will post that on Twitter the way we did this past week. But, so we're going to do this a little different, though. So most of this show is going to be E3 coverage for the conferences, and we're going to talk about all the stuff that was shown. There are a few news items we need to get to, and we are going to talk about the games we're playing, but we're going to do that at the end of the show to kind of wind down. Montrell and I are fresh coming off most of this stuff today, so we kind of want to just jump right into that and get our kind of fresh opinions on this. So, Montrell, unless you have any objections, let's just get started, right? We got a lot to get to today.
Yeah. So I'll start. Yeah. Fuck Square Enix, bro. So
okay, let's start there. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So the beginning of the conference is actually pretty good. I didn't mind Guardians of the Galaxy. I actually thought it looks pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I made a joke that it's Final Fantasy 15, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. I mean, it does look pretty good.
Yeah.
I think the thing it was frustrating for me. This was actually a really frustrating reveal for me because we hadn't really heard about this game before, and this is apparently what Eidos Montreal has been working on for the last few years.
Okay.
And I was like watching the trailer, and I was really excited. I was like, "Oh, this looks really cool, dude! Like this actually looks like a fun game." It does have that Avengers aesthetic that doesn't look super great. Some of the characters do look good, particularly the non-human characters. I think look pretty good. But when it was revealed that Eidos was making this game, I just fucking hung my head in absolute dismay. I was like, motherfucker, dude, I'm never getting a Deus Ex game. I think Deus Ex is dead, man. Like, I just feel like that is like just reality at this point. If we're going to get a new Deus Ex game, it's going to be like 10 years from now. That's how I feel. So
yeah, I saw a couple people ask me like, why was the conference bad and stuff like that for you? And I'm like, bro, you go back and watch that conference and tell me why it was good.
Yeah.
So while the game itself played good, it looked like a fucking PS4 game. It looked like an early gen PS4 game.
Well,
I don't know if
laggy.
I don't know if it was the stream or I don't know if it was the console they were playing it on. I think it was the PS4 version of the console because it was. Even though there's stream lag doesn't do.
No, these were frame drops. These were frame drops, dude. Like actual in-game frame drops. That was pretty clear, I think.
So I don't know if they just showed us like maybe the early beta or alpha of the game or something like that or whatever the case may be.
It can't be though. The game's coming out they announced it's coming out in October, dude. 26th of October.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
It's got to be ready for prime time. That's 4 months from now. Like that's why I was a little iffy on that, Like
I don't know, man. It looked really, really it looked good, and then other parts looked really bad.
Yeah.
What was next that they showed after that? Oh, okay. So
I want to say one more. Hold on, I want to say one more thing about this. The gameplay didn't look great on Guardians of the Galaxy. However, the banter and the story elements of the game, I think look good. That part could save the game in terms of it being a well received.
I disagree. I think the gameplay looked actually pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. I just think it looked like a clear, like it's not tight. It doesn't look tight to me. Like it's just
it feels like they definitely have to work on some things. But I think what they're trying to accomplish, they did accomplish, even though it's kind of like not as tight as they want it to be.
Mm-hmm. But I'm looking forward to it. I actually do think I'm going to play this game when it comes out. So we'll see. I mean, obviously we'll cover it if we do play it. So
yeah, exactly.
All right. So what was next?
So I mean, this was Disney presents Square, like for the first 20 minutes of this goddamn conference.
Yeah.
It was Guardians of the Galaxy, and then they did all the Avengers shit, and they showed Wakanda, or they showed the expansion for the Black Panther thing, which I was joking about on Twitter, saying like it was kind of racist because like they're playing hip hop music over, you know.
I know. What is it with this? Like, why is everybody okay with this? I don't understand. Like, because I was thinking the same thing, man. I'm like, why do we do this when we have black characters in the forefront? We always put hip hop over it. It's like, I don't understand. Like why do we do that? I don't like. Why is everyone like? No one calls this out either. I like. You're the only person I've seen like actually call that out. You know, it's like it doesn't make sense to me, but.
Yeah, a lot of other people were calling it out too. And they're like, playing hip hop music over this is not going to make you buy your stuff.
Yeah, right.
But so I thought that was pretty funny. They added a lot of extra content to the Avengers game, like random boss encounters.
It's just weird that they're continuing to push this game so hard. You know,
I think it made a lot of money in the back end. I think
it definitely made money. It's just weird that they're like. How much of a disaster it was, they really want to save this game. That is clear, I think. And maybe that's because of their relationship with Marvel. They don't feel like they can just drop it like a ton of bricks because of that relationship. But yeah, I don't know. Because it was like Anthem level bad in terms of its receipt. Dude, I was seeing people on Reddit saying last week there were periods where the game had like no one playing on Steam, like literally zero. You know, I don't know if that's true or not, but even if you look at the concurrence, the rates of it, it's under 1,000 people at any given time, which is pathetic for a game like this, you know? So,
yeah.
You did skip two things, Montreal. They showed Legend of Mana, which is coming out on June 24th, but the one I want to talk about is the pixel remasters of Final Fantasy 1 through 6, and this was rumored to be a thing, but so Square shows it, and then they don't even really show what it looks like for the most part, or I didn't look closely enough. They were showing them all at once, so maybe they did show it, but not that they they show the title card at the end, bro, and it literally says Steam and mobile, and I just started cackling in laughter because I was like, what are they fucking doing? Why wouldn't you put this on consoles like Switch, PlayStation, you know, or even Xbox? Like, what the fuck are you doing, Square? Like, put trophies on these fucking games. Like, people would buy this shit on those consoles. Like, why are they locking them to PC and mobile? I don't understand that. And didn't they already do remasters of these games on mobile that look like shit and everyone hates them? Like, what the fuck?
Oh, they did?
What the fuck are they doing? Yes, like years ago, and everyone hates the way they look. They look like
I know
ass.
They actually remade like 2 or 3 of them on the DS, and that's the one.
Yeah, those were 3D remakes. But they redid the pixel art for the games like several years ago, a long time ago. It might have even been 10 years ago, dude. And everyone hates those. Like, they're infamous in terms of their people's how people receive them. But like, so I just find it odd that they're doing this again and they're still locking them to those platforms. I don't understand that. Like, what? Like, why? Why wouldn't you put this shit on PlayStation 4 and 5? I don't like, what the fuck? I don't know, dude. I don't fucking know. But I just wanted to call that out because that's fucking weird, man. Square's weird. They're just a weird fucking company. Like, for every time, I feel like every time we start praising them, they do this. They have a conference like this, or a presentation like this, or a game announcement like this, where you just cannot explain their thinking in any fucking conceivable way. But let's continue, because I mean, it gets worse from here, to be frank. The front of the conference, frankly, the best part was the first 15 minutes showing Guardians of the Galaxy. Everything else from there was total shit. Continue, Montrell.
He's right.
I'm sorry, I'm very fired up about this because this was the conference I was looking forward to the most, and it was probably the worst one out of all of them. It's like, fuck.
Oh my god, bro! I don't know. After today, like you would have to have a complete shit show to beat this conference as far as being the worst conference.
I agree. I mean, yeah. You go
they
ahead.
showed Life is Strange 3 or True Colors as they call it.
Yeah.
And they also announced again the Life is Strange remastered. So I saw, wait, before they did that, right?
Wait, no, yeah.
Wait, I skipped one.
So they showed a bunch of mobile games after the Black Panther stuff, and fucking come on.
They showed the Hitman because you're Agent 426 now.
Yeah, 426.
So you're Agent 426 now, and you got to find out what happened to Agent 46. And then they got a near mobile game coming out. I didn't really see the gameplay on.
They showed some Brave Exvius fucking crossover.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! And then they showed Babylon's Fall.
Oh, okay. So let me. What the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm stuttering because, bro, I have been waiting for this game since like 2017 when they announced it, I think.
Yeah. It's been a while.
And then I remember they showed gameplay footage of it. Was it last year, Justin, or the year before last?
I think it was the year before. I think it was 2019. Yeah.
And it looked good. It looked great. It had a little bit of that astral chain thing going to it and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And now it looks like a fucking PS3 game. I don't know what the fuck they did to this game. I don't know what Square did to this game. This always happened with Platinum games because Xbox did the same shit to Scalebound. I would not be surprised if this game get canceled. I wouldn't be surprised.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you.
They've been working on this game for about 4 years, bro. Yeah. I think this game is either going to get canceled or it's going to come out complete shit because this game looks like ass, like total ass. When I say ass, it's with a capital A-S.
3 S's, man. Let's add some extra S's. Ass.
Yeah. Ass.
Like fucking
what
hell.
the fuck was this game? Did you see the archery combat? What was that?
Like what?
Why were you showing that? This looks like alpha. Oh my. It was like alpha stage gameplay. I was so mad. I'm like, this is not it.
Oh no! Oh man, dude. No, this is not it. And then they said it's a live service game, apparently. And
they had the nerve to say that.
That had never been discussed up to this point. And this is what I think happened, Montrell, is that I think this was a single player game, and Square Enix decided, we're like, you know what? This game's got potential. Let's make this an online fucking co-op game, and we'll make it a live service game, and maybe that was maybe that was recent. Maybe after Avengers fell off, they needed something else to kind of like, take that mantle and be that game. But man, because this now to me, like, part of me was like, this might be fun to play with you guys, but there's so many fucking co-op games coming out in the next year that look fun that we're probably going to dabble in, that why the fuck would I play this? Like why would I play this? Like it just looks like Nier Automata in a fantasy world. Like that's what they literally even referenced Nier Automata's engine. Like they made it clear that this game is based off Nier Automata's engine, because you can see all the characters have the fucking weapons floating behind them the way they were in Nier. And it's like I'm like watching the gameplay and I'm just like,
bro, they need to let.
What's the hook here? What is the hook here? What's the hook? There's no gimmick. There doesn't seem to be any kind of like mechanic that's unique to this game in any way. It's just, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah,
I got nothing for you.
When I saw this game, man, I looked at it and I'm like, I hope this is the stream quality. But people were confirming. They even showed that old presentation they showed in the current presentation, and that doesn't look like the same game. I'm like, this is not the same game.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the fuck is going on. And I was hyped because it's Platinum Games. I'm like, oh man, they always deliver quality. Like this is bad. Like I need Platinum Games to be free from Nier. Like Nier was a great game, right? It was a phenomenal game, but I need y'all to get free from that because I need y'all creativity to come back. Like we don't need
right.
Like Bayonetta played completely different from Nier. You know what I'm saying?
To my point about the gimmick thing, think about all their action games, the good ones, right? Revengeance, Nier, Bayonetta. You know, like, dude, they all have central mechanics to them that make them different from each other. You know,
Yeah.
this game has none of that. It just looks like Nier. It looks like Nier with a bunch of generic looking fantasy characters. And there's a part in the little presentation they were doing where they had like the art guy there, and he was like explaining the design of the characters, and he was like, yeah, they told me not to embellish too much, so I made the characters look very realistic, and you know, they look like real people. And I was like, bro, they just look like they look like they don't have any life to them whatsoever. There's no personality here. They just look like they look generic as fuck, you know? Like there's nothing exciting about this at all. So, man, yeah, this re-reveal was bad, man. Bad. Oh. I mean,
my God. This game's been in development for about 5 years.
I know, what a waste of fucking time. What a waste of time.
Yeah. So yeah, that was bad. So then the next thing after that was the Life is Strange collection and the Life is Strange 3 or True Colors. They spent 15 minutes on this, and I'm like, bro, I don't care about this Netflix Riverdale / Sabrina remake, whatever the fuck, CW Smallville type shit. Well, Smallville was good, but like, I don't care about this game. Mm-hmm. And I understand this game sold well, but I also think we're past the era of this game. This game, Life is Strange, came out when they were doing like the Heavy Rains and the you know, the Detroit is Become Humans and all that other stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You know, the Walking Dead. So they had these like narrative driven games that were like really good. That's when Life is Strange came out. And I think, honestly, like, not trying to knock those games, I think the era for those type of games have like kind of passed. Mm-hmm. And maybe this will bring it back to life, you know what I'm saying? But they never been my type of games. And I don't know how much money they made Square. Obviously, they made Square a lot of money because they dedicated like 10 minutes to this shit. Or maybe 5 to 10 minutes.
They did. Well, they really put this game on a fucking pedestal every time they talk about it, dude. Like it's at every one of their presentations. It has been for years. Like not just this game, Life is Strange in general. I feel like it. Like they shove it down our throats as much as they possibly can. Like how either they really want this to be a success or it really already is a success, and they're just, you know, they just think it's a moneymaker, but.
Yeah, maybe it's one of those hitting success that like they really don't advertise as much as like Final Fantasy or something. I don't know. But someone said like, you know, well, I like the games that were shown. Like, how come you didn't like this? You know, I'll say that for after this whole thing. But anyway, so next after that was Team Ninja Final Fantasy game, and I got hyped. If you saw my tweets, it was like hype, and then I just slowly went down. Because if this motherfucker mentions chaos one more time, bro, I'm gonna kill somebody.
Bro, is that gonna be the whole game? Is him just screaming about chaos? I gotta fight chaos. I want to kill chaos. And then when he's fighting, he's like crystallizing these enemies, and he's like, die! Like, dude, what the fuck is happening here? Is this a Final Fantasy game? And he just looks like what is he wearing? He's just wearing like a cotton black t-shirt. Like
it's some boots.
Some boots and like black tight jeans. Like, what do you wear? What is his character design? And he has this giant sword on his back and is like fucking like, what the fuck? The two people with him are way more interesting looking and sounding than he is.
Yeah, and that's true.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm just, and then they show the gameplay. It looks good, but
it looks okay. So this is my problem, right? So the gameplay looks good, but it looks generic. If that makes any sense,
yeah, it does. Yeah,
it looks like what we would expect from like, you know, a Team Ninja game, you know, from their recent games. It looks like a Neo game, in my opinion, the way it's playing and stuff like that. And I like what I saw. It's just, I don't know. I thought Neo 2 looked better than this.
Oh, like, absolutely.
As far as like
mile. Dude, that's my issue with this. That's why I was so discouraged by this trailer, is that Neo 2, if you go watch the trailers for Neo 2, that game looks better than this. Like the combat looks better, everything about it looks better. And there was no sign here that this is an RPG in any way, the way Neo
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
And there's going to be a demo quote soon that I will be jumping into in this.
I will too.
I want to know. I want to play this game and see what it is, because I'm not sold right now, and that makes me really upset because Team Ninja has been killing it for the last few years, and I really don't want them to waste a release on a bad game. Something that's just lukewarm and not well cooked. Because that's what it looks like right now. Like I don't know. And yeah, this motherfucker talking about chaos. If we have to play a whole game where that's all he talks about for the whole fucking game, I'm gonna kill myself. Like I don't think I'll be able to get through it if I'm being honest. So
yeah, and so I think that's pretty much it. They showed that yeah. Tetsu Nomura, at the forefront of the character design or whatever, we don't know.
Well, they did show a montage after that.
Yeah, they did show a montage. We still got no word about, I mean, we still got word, but we know of Final Fantasy 16, but we didn't get anything else from it.
They showed in that montage, they showed like a very brief snippet of gameplay, like 5 or 10 seconds, maybe. And I mean, it looks good. There's nothing to go on though, really, So,
exactly, yeah. So, man. I don't know, man. It's like I don't know what to expect. So this whole overall conference was like really bad. My major gripe with the conference is I don't know. To me, it looks like this shit got put together last minute, and they knew about this for ages.
Right.
At least in my opinion, I can't see a world where they didn't know about this for about at least a year. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of the trailers, the games look like they were made for the PS3 coming to the PS4. Like if this was like PS3 generation, I saw this for the PS4, I'll be totally hyped. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But and you know me, like if you've been listening to the podcast, I don't think either one of us are like graphic whores.
Yeah.
But holy shit, like these games look bad, bro.
Yeah, but there's the thing is, we're in a point now where games have to look good, dude. Like I'm sorry, you don't get away with like your game looking bad if it's egregious, Like if there's reasons like mitigating circumstances that make that okay. Like you're an indie studio that has like 5 people or something, or 10 or 20 even, and you're making something ambitious, like I can understand why the graphics wouldn't be the most important thing for a game like that. But when you're Square Enix and you are the graphics horror developer, like have always been that, I mean, people were making jokes like about this where they were like, did Square spend all their make games look good budget on Final Fantasy VII Remake? Because the rest of these games aren't hitting in that way, like they don't look that good, aesthetically. So
no, you're right. Like they really don't. A lot of them look generic. I was especially disappointed in the Final Fantasy Origins game. I'll say Team Ninja's games never been. Well, at one point, Team Ninja's games were like graphically up there. Like if you go back for the time, so like I'll say like Ninja Gaiden, right, and Dead or Alive. Those are Team Ninja games. And I remember when they came out on the Xbox, the original OG Xbox. Like that was groundbreaking as far as like how they looked and played. They were playing at 60 frames per second and they looked phenomenal. And these are on the OG Xbox and OG PS2. But now it's like, and I'll say they kind of sacrificed their graphical fidelity for more of an action oriented thing. Cause like Neo wasn't the most graphically visualized looking game, but it was like, it got the job done for what it was trying to do. You know what I'm saying? But I would think in working with collaboration with Square, your graphics would be a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man.
I mean, for what Neo's going for, their style works with that game. I think there are a lot of things in that. Like, there are a lot of enemy designs that look great in that series. But yeah, with Final Fantasy, like there's this distinct style that Square goes for with that, and I'm surprised that right now that's what it looks like, because it doesn't look good. The enemies didn't look good. The characters, like the main character in particular, doesn't look good. I think the other characters looked good for the most part. They had that flair. It's just, why did they design the main character to look like some dude from, like, fucking New York City, just walking around? He's got a giant sword and he just got teleported into, like, Final Fantasy land. Like, I don't understand that. I don't get that, and I hope they hear feedback about that from people, and change that up a little bit, because or maybe the game's an RPG and you can wear armor and it changes the way you look. Maybe that happens too. I don't know. So we'll find out more.
Yeah, we'll find out more. I mean, that makes sense a lot. Like, maybe it is an RPG and you start off looking generic, but then you can,
It's
do a
just
lot of
weird they
different.
wouldn't show that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the best part of this conference, dude, is that montage. There's literally a 10-second spot where they show Forspoken and Final Fantasy 16 back to back in Montreal. The video we have in our document. Go to 4050 and watch that 10 seconds. That's the best part of this fucking whole conference, is those two clips, 5 seconds each. Those games look fucking fantastic. Like, what the fuck? Why aren't we seeing more of this shit?
And that was my biggest gripe with the entire game, with the entire conference, because someone said, well, I was satisfied. Like, what did you guys expect from Square? Like, we already know about Final Fantasy 14 and Forspoken, so, what did you guys expect? Okay,
no, we don't know. We don't know anything about them.
But we already know about Life is Strange. Why are you dedicating 10 minutes to Life is Strange?
Yes, exactly. Fucking Avengers. Like, why are you showing us 5 to 10 minutes of that too? I don't need that. You're talking about mobile games in your conference? Like,
for 5 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Why? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, this isn't defensible. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's a bad conference. Like, it is. And to be frank, the 5 seconds of Forspoken they showed looks fucking sick. Like, this game looks awesome, dude. Like, she's like wall running and shit and doing these like air glides and stuff. Like, it looks awesome.
Why didn't we see more of like Endwalkers or something? Get people hyped for that shit to come out.
Right.
Like, why didn't we see none of this stuff? Yeah. And it's like, you have these heavy hitters that are out there and you're just not using it. And yeah, I'm pissed. I don't even play Deus Ex, and I'm pissed that we didn't get no kind of remasters from it or anything. Like, you guys didn't do anything with that franchise, and there are legitimate fans for that franchise. Like, you can at least make a good 1 million copies off that shit.
Bro,
easy.
Give me a Deus Ex teaser. This would have been a 10 out of 10. I would have just fanboyed as hard as imaginably possible. So. All right, we got other conferences we got to talk about, so let's just leave Square. But it is what it is. They missed. They missed really hard.
That was Ubisoft level E3.
Yeah. Ubisoft was better. Like,
that's because we expected Ubisoft to be bad, and it was bad.
And but it wasn't this bad.
True.
They man. So, okay, let's go to Ubisoft next, I guess. So theirs was bad, as Montrell said. It was definitely bad because it was a really long presentation. It was like 2 hours or something, but they only showed like 5 or 6 games. But what they did was they would show a trailer and then they would talk about the game for like 20 fucking minutes, and what they're trying to do with it and all this stuff. So the first one they showed was Rainbow Six Extraction, which appears to be based off Rainbow Six Siege, but it is not a PvP game. It is a co-op squad-based game where, I guess, based on the title and what they showed of it, the point is you are extracting people from these nests of these really horrific-looking monsters, almost zombie-like, but a little bit more supernatural than that, I would say. And what they showed of this, when I watched of it, like, it looks cool. I'm sure this game will find an audience for sure, but it does not look like my cup of tea. And to be frank, I just think Ubisoft needs to be more creative with. I know we've bagged on them in the past for not doing supernatural stuff, but why is it that they do the supernatural stuff in a multiplayer only co-op game? Like. They don't do this with any other single player stuff or anything like that. It's just like, come on, man. I don't know. So, I mean, Macho, did you watch the trailers with this game? Like, what did you think of this?
I I actually respect them for doing something different. But yeah, I agree with you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
is this going to be a separate game, or is it like
Mm-hmm.
a DLC or something like that?
No, I think it is its own game.
Okay, I respect it. I mean, I actually wanted something like that from Ubisoft.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it still looks a little safe to me, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I agree.
I would have wanted something like Division esque, if that makes any
Mm-hmm.
sense. Like that
Mm-hmm.
game to me had the potential to be very supernatural, not Rainbow Six. Like I wasn't expecting that from Rainbow Six, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Or just give me an original title or original game or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I guess, man. I mean, I'm looking at it now. I'm not really too impressed by it. It's not
Yeah.
my cup of tea. Um,
I think
yeah,
they
it's
said it's coming in October as well, so it's relatively soon.
okay. Yeah, it's not really my cup of tea, but it looks like a really bad Left 4 Dead.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, I don't know. But so whatever. Next game was Rocksmith Plus. I don't have anything to say about this, but it's a game where you can make music, I guess, or whatever. You can learn guitar. Fun. That's fun, I guess. Then they showed Riders Republic. I don't even really didn't get much out of it, to be honest. And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are coming to Brawlhalla. Great. Then they showed Just Dance 2022 is coming to Switch on November 4th. Again, not much to say here. It's just not our cup of tea, but if you're into it, they did show it. And this is my point about this, though. We're 40 minutes into their presentation, and this is all they've shown so far.
Wait, really?
Like, yeah. No, I'm looking at a live blog, and yeah, it's 40 minutes into the live blog that they start talking about Just Dance 2022, and yeah. Then they show Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Looks like it's getting a Paris expansion of some sort that may be coming out this fall. Then they showed Far Cry 6 a little bit more in depth. This was kind of a more in depth trailer. Did you watch this one, Montrell? What are you into Far Cry 6? Are you looking forward to it?
Actually, I am into Far Cry. I haven't played Far Cry since Far Cry 4 because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
like 4. That actually turned me off the franchise. But Far Cry 6 looks like it's a return to his roots a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it was
Mm-hmm.
Far Cry was always like crazy and zany. I think unfortunately with Far Cry 3, a lot of people will say that's the best one, which it probably is. It's one of those things though, it's like where it's the Resident Evil 4 of the franchise, where
Mm-hmm.
it took Resident Evil 4 changed the franchise, but it changed it for the worst, even though it was the best in the franchise, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. Like the
Right.
games after it became bad. And I feel like that's the same thing with Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 was like it's Resident Evil 4. It was really good. And then everyone tried to emulate that. Every Far Cry tried to emulate that Far Cry afterwards. And
Mm-hmm.
it became really super realistic and stuff like that. Whereas with
Yeah.
this one, it looks like they're returning back to the roots of like it being like, it's like a realistic but zany shooter. And I always like that for Far Cry. And hopefully it continues that trend. But I don't know. I just from the trailers I saw so far, it looks really good. But I'm still skeptical right now.
Mm-hmm. And then after that was I think this was kind of their biggest reveal, or what was intended to be their biggest reveal, but unfortunately it was leaked by Nintendo on the fucking eShop yesterday, which or it was on Friday, which I find to be the funniest fucking thing imaginable, because Ubisoft's games are famously always leaked before they're ever announced or even talked about by Ubisoft. And
Mm-hmm.
the fact that they're doing so what they announced was a Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle follow up, so a sequel, and it is called Sparks of Hope. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. And to think that their partner, the one who basically owns the primary IP of the game, Nintendo, are the ones who fucking leak the game, like that is just it's just unbelievable to me. It's so funny. Like Ubisoft just cannot win with this stuff. But it what they showed of it, it looks a lot like some more Mario Rabbids, but it looks a little bit more expansive in terms of what they were trying to do with the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Which I like want to play the first one. I have it. I just have never had the time or found the time to like put it in and try it. I'm sure I would like it, but I mean, Montreal, does this interest you at all? Did you even play the first one?
No, I didn't play the first one, unfortunately.
Okay. Any interest in this?
I'll be honest, new. I know a lot of people who do like it though, and good for y'all. But it's just not my. I don't think the game looks bad or anything. It's just not my cup of tea as far as
Yeah.
a game I'll want to spend my money on. Somebody bought it for me, I'll play it though.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I ever play it, I can lend it to you probably.
Okay.
And then after that, they announced one more game, and this was Avatar: Frontiers of
Oh my
Pandora.
fucking god!
And it looked like Avatar. Whoopee fucking do.
Where are these Avatar fans?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. My brother sent me an idea that he thinks maybe this is their way of trying to garner interest in the movies before they come out. Because I mean, it's been almost 15 years since fucking the first movie came out. I think it came out in 2009 or something like that. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the concept of this game doesn't sound bad. Like it's a universe that could be good for video games, but I just like the actual IP though. Like you said, who the fuck's clamoring for this? Like what market research are they doing that's telling them that this game is going to make them a lot of money? I don't know. I don't know because anytime anyone brings up Avatar on Twitter or online or even amongst our friends, like no one has anything good to say about it. Um, as an IP or the movie or anything like that. So yeah. I don't know. What do you think, man? Do you think this has potential?
I guess I don't. The franchise hasn't been anything since 2008, and every time I do bring up the franchise in general, people still hold on to 2008. Well, it was it made $2.8 billion in the box office. Oh my god! I'm like, bro, okay. This franchise to make that much money has zero cultural impact.
Yeah,
Zero.
right.
I can't find one meme about this game. And I mean about this franchise. And not to say like, that needs to be the thing or whatever, but it's like,
I mean, it is an indicator though.
yeah, it's no one's looking for this game. No one's checking for this franchise. And for them to make it a game, maybe your brother's right. Maybe they're just trying to garner interest because I did hear of a rumor like months ago, maybe a year ago, that James Cameron still plans on making the Avatar series because he had like two or three of them, two or three more, four of them, yeah.
Production all at the same time.
So it's like, I guess, man, like if you like it, I love it, but for me, I will not be checking for it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so we've had two other conferences we're going to cover. There were some others. Gearbox had one, which was a travesty. You want to talk? You asked like, is there one that was worse than Square? It was Gearbox's by far. They spent most of it talking. It was just Randy Pitchford, like on his phone camera, just like talking to people about the Borderlands movie. Like that was literally what it was, and it just the absolute.
Wait, did you say on his phone camera?
That's what a couple of the interviews felt like. They were just him like holding his phone camera and like talking to somebody. Like that's what it looked like. That's kind of what it looked like. I mean, that's not what it was, but the quality of it was bad, So not great. He even like had a point where he talked to Kevin Hart, and I just wanted to like blow my brains out. It was so cringy, dude. So in that regard, if you want to be entertained for a few minutes, go watch Gearbox's presentation. But before we get to Xbox, let's talk about the Summer Game Fest, which was the kind of pre-E3 showcase that Jeff Keighley was hosting, because it seems like him and the ESA have kind of had a bit of a falling out. Because he's been like talking shit about them on Twitter all week. But there was actually a lot here, dude. I was surprised by how many, like, when I first watched it, I wasn't super impressed by what I saw. But looking back on it now, it actually had a lot more announcements than I was kind of giving it credit for, I think.
Yeah.
Originally. So, yeah, go ahead.
I agree. I was actually, I mean, what did they announce there? I know they announced something.
I mean, let's just go through it. Yeah, I mean, because it was pretty long. It was pretty lengthy. The first thing was Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which is from Gearbox. And it is going to be, it sounds like it's a Borderlands game, but set in the universe that they kind of played around with the Borderlands 2 DLC. that was like the D&D kind of uh, almost parody sort of that was very popular at the time, and I think was the best DLC in that game. Kind of sounds like they're making a whole game based off that, because the way they described it, that there was a little bit of a deep dive on this too. Ashley Birch came out, who's the Tiny Tina voice actress, and she talked about like you're going to be playing as a character playing in her D&D game, basically,
Okay.
and she's going to just like change shit on the fly on you and all sorts of shit like that. So it sounds cool, and she said it was a fantasy kind of a fantasy first environment. So, but there does appear to be guns in it, so I don't know if it's going to be kind of more sword and sorcery stuff with guns on the side, or if it's going to be just kind of like Borderlands with sword and sorcery stuff on the side. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's unclear, but either way, this is mildly interesting to me. I need to see gameplay, I think, before I really like kind of endorse it in my own head. But it has potential, I think, is what I'll say that.
Okay. And then the next game was like a Final Fantasy Tactics meets Metal Slug, which I thought was really
Yeah,
cool.
this was crazy. I can't believe that.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that game because Metal Slug has been kind of dormant for a while, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Besides like the the remasters and the remakes they have and some of the arcade games, but yeah, it looks
Yep.
pretty cool. I'm probably gonna check it out. And I'm not really a big tactics person like that, like you are. I am a tactics
Yeah.
fan, but not like you. So I'm
Well,
pretty sure
funny
you're excited
enough,
for it.
this is not my type of tactics game.
Really?
I'm not super into tactics games that are like gun based, like I'm much more into the fantasy tactical RPGs, I guess is what I'll
Okay,
say.
okay.
I guess I kind of have a bias that way. It's just more what I enjoy. I think that style of game works better with swords and shields and shit and magic than it does with guns, because gun combat like is not the way these games are played generally. So but that doesn't mean they can't be good. I mean, Advance Wars is beloved. This actually
Yeah, I would
does look
say
pretty good,
this
but
reminds me a lot of Advance Wars.
mhm. But it does look good though. Like artistically, it looks fucking fantastic, dude. I was like, holy shit, this is like really got a very, very well designed art style that you can tell it like looks like Metal Slug. Like what I think of Metal Slug as, it looks like it. So yeah, that looks good. Then after that, he brought Hideo Kojima in to talk about just whatever the fuck, and then they showed a brief trailer of Death Stranding director's cut, where literally most of the trailer was Norman Reedus's character within the game trying to sneak into a place, and he like it was literally just a giant Metal Gear reference where he just looked at a box, got in the box, and then he was like, I don't think I should sneak. I don't want to sneak around with this box. Like, I don't think this is going to work. But then, they really like keyed on the box. Like it was very heavy handed. But I don't know what that means. Like, does that mean that he might like work on a Metal Gear game,
Nope.
or is this just
Nope.
you think this is just like a red herring just to get people fucking hyped,
No,
kind of thing?
I think that was Kojima's way of saying that he's done with the Metal Gear franchise.
Oh, that's a good way to put that. I didn't think about that.
I think that was a nice way of him saying it. I don't think he has any. So I watched the trailer. I don't think he has any beef with like Konami over the whole thing or anything like that. Because even when he was with Konami, he always had an inkling to do other stuff besides Metal Gear, and I think Konami kept him, you know,
Under wraps.
under wraps. And there has been rumors of him actually like talking to people who still work for Konami and everything like that. I'm pretty sure he still has like friends and everything, and they probably want to contribute or continue the Metal Gear franchise. And I think this is like a subtle way of saying like, "Hey, I'm done, and I give you my blessing, and I'm putting the box up, and that's it."
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
I don't think this is their way of saying like, or his way of saying like, "Yo, I'm working on the Metal Gear game, guys. Get ready." I think this is just his way of saying like, it was a good run, but
Yeah.
I can do this without Metal Gear now.
Yeah, well, the way the video plays out, you're kind of right. I think that is a really good way to kind of take that. So, so after that, Jeff Goldblum came out, and of course, it was a Jurassic World game. Jurassic World Evolution 2, which I don't I don't know exactly what this is. I think it's like almost like a tycoon kind of game, like style game where you like build like a Jurassic Park basically. And I think that's what it is. I don't really know, but they didn't show any gameplay or anything, so there wasn't a lot to go off there. Montreal, does that excite you at all?
Not really, unfortunately.
Fair enough. Then they brought out a singer who was singing a song from a game. I think from Sable is what it's called. The game is called. And they showed a lot of art of the game running. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty nice, I guess. But not much to say there for me. I'm gonna kind of speed round some of this. So if you want to
Okay.
jump in on any of these games, let me know.
All right.
Um, Lost Ark was the next one, which looks like okay. This one actually, I do want to talk about this one. This was the one from Amazon Game Studios, and it looks like an action RPG, but they labeled it an MMO, like massively multiplayer game, is what they called it, and it looks good, dude. Which I can't believe I'm saying that for an Amazon game, but this might be the first game they ever release, and it looks pretty decent, man. I mean, what did you think of this one?
And what is it called again? I don't think
Lost
I saw
Ark.
it. I don't think I saw this one. This is
Yeah,
probably the one I
let me make
missed.
sure I got the right one here because I think this was the one. Yeah, this was the one. Yeah, no, it's got a very Diablo esque kind of monster like enemy design look to it, but there was gameplay scattered in there and it looked pretty solid, dude. Like it I don't know. I kind of want to see more of it, but I think they put a date on it too, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like October or something like that. I'm trying to see the exact timing here. Yeah, coming fall 2021.
Oh,
Lost
wow,
Ark.
this game looks really cool. I
Yeah,
didn't see
Amazon
this.
Game Studios. So
Yeah, I didn't see this. I must have fell asleep or something, or I was at work when this shit came out, so I must have been doing work. But yeah, this
gotcha.
actually looks really good. Holy shit!
Yeah, yeah, that was a surprise for me for sure. That was one that was like, oh man, I might actually play that. Um, So that was pretty good. Then they did some Call of Duty stuff. Ryan Reynolds came out to talk about his fucking movie. They had an Among Us roadmap. Shuhei talked about indie games, which he mentioned Salt and Sacrifice, which is a sequel or follow up to Salt and Sanctuary,
Mm-hmm.
which is an indie game that came out a few years ago that's often compared to Dark Souls in terms of its difficulty and its design, even though it's a 2D platformer. Looks pretty good. Not my cup of tea, but interesting nonetheless. Then they showed some more from Solar Ash, from Annapurna, and then Chivalry 2, which not my cup of tea again. Definitely not. Some Valorant stuff, Escape from Tarkov. Let's see. Netflix Geeked Week. You know, they had a Stranger. Okay, this one was weird, dude. Stranger Things is crossing over with Smite.
Wait, really?
Yeah, let me say that again. Stranger Things is crossing over with the video game Smite, which is a MOBA that has a bunch of gods in it from different pantheons. Like, what the fuck? Super weird.
What are they doing with that franchise, Stranger Things?
I have no idea, dude. They're trying to just get it wherever they can.
Isn't the series over though?
No, no.
Oh,
The next
okay,
season's in development. It's
okay,
just not out yet. We have no idea when it's coming. Then after that, there was some stuff for King's Body 3, which looks pretty good. They showed New World a little bit, or talked about New World a little bit. Not much to say there either. I still don't know if that game is ever actually going to come out, to be honest with you. There's a bunch of other stuff to skip over here. There was a Tales of Arise uh, trailer as well. They showed a little bit more of the story focus and kind of showed you the full party makeup. And these
okay.
characters actually look pretty cool. They have pretty distinct combat styles, it looks like. So I'm getting a little bit more excited for this game the more they show it, to be honest with you. They also showed a villain who looks like he's from Kingdom Hearts. But yeah. Um, then after that was Overwatch 2, Dungeons and Dragons, Monster Hunter Stories 2 stuff. Not much else here until the very end, which this was the big one. They showed Elden Ring. Finally got re-revealed at the end of this presentation, and it was a full trailer, gameplay and cinematic. And Montreal, are you excited? Are you excited for this game now, Elden Ring? Now that we've actually seen it for real.
Yeah, I'm still curious what the gameplay is going to be like. I don't know if it's going to be Dark Souls esque, Bloodborne esque, or Sekiro esque. Like which ones is leaning towards? It looks like it's leaning towards maybe the Dark Souls Bloodborne route.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm still gonna play. I'm still like those games. Uh, but yeah, I'm wondering like what's it gonna be like? What's its main mechanic or anything of that nature? I did see
Mm-hmm.
that it's PvP, not PvP, but you can summon 4 other players to help you in your world, which I
Mm-hmm.
thought was pretty cool. They did confirm that in later interviews and stuff like that. Um, the most interesting thing I thought about this that came out this game though was not the game itself, but the dialogue around it. Now that
Mm-hmm.
this game was shown, it's an open world game. Uh, it looks really good. I don't know if you guys been listening to us. If you go back to our past episodes, we predicted that this will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now everyone and their mom is saying, "Are we finally ready to admit that Breath of the Wild was a bad Zelda game?" And I'm like, "Wow, really now?"
Mm-hmm.
It- People were like, "Oh, this is what Breath of the Wild should have been." Hmm. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, my 2 cents here. We didn't get a lot. I mean, there's a lot in this trailer to talk about, but I don't think like we didn't get a lot of really decisive like gameplay clips. It was really like 1 or 2 seconds for the most part, where they
Yeah.
were just interspersing that. So we didn't get like an extended look at a fight or anything like that. But I will say there were a couple moments that really looked like it reminded me of Sekiro. In terms of the movement and stuff, and even the blocking, like it looked like the character was moving kind of the way Sekiro did. So I'm hoping that they go more for that faster gameplay style than the more Dark Souls style of game. There also seems to be a little bit more agility in some of the attacks some of the characters were doing as well. So I don't know. It looks cool. It's weird. I'm like tentatively excited for it. It's just unfortunately this aesthetic they have, that Dark Souls aesthetic, which is what this game looks like. I'm just not that into it, man. I don't know. I like it's well done. It's beautiful in its own way. Also very haunting and creepy as well, of course. But I don't know. I don't dig it. Some of these enemy designs, dude, like literally one of the bosses was like a dude, like a giant dude with a hammer with a fucking goblet on his head. Like his head is a goblet and it like shoots fire out of it. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I guess that's interesting, but it's just like it's fucking weird, you know? I don't know. So I mean, they go for creepy. That's what they always fucking go for, but and it works to a degree. But so we'll see. I mean, there were many jokes about if you haven't beaten Sekiro, you don't get to play this game. So get started, guys. You have several months. It did get a release date of January. What was it? January 11th or something like that. It's January next year, 2022. Do you think it will hit that date? Actually,
Yes, because they've been working on this game for a while. Like we haven't seen anything from this game,
yeah. I
and
actually agree with you right now.
yeah, they and what gives me hope is like they had another team doing the other
Mm-hmm.
Demon Souls, so they had tons of free time. The only thing that I think they did release was like that Sekiro update, and I'm pretty sure they only had like a small team on that because that was mainly like quality of life and like
Mm-hmm.
system changes. That wasn't really like a big super update for Sekiro.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think they put all hands on deck as far as like working on this game. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
was working on this game. I don't even think they had like a B or A team. I think they had all their teams working on this game.
Yeah.
So I can definitely expect this game to be coming out it's this year, right?
No, 2022,
2022.
January. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, not that much
yeah,
further than
not
this
that
year.
much further than this year. Yeah, so I definitely can see it. Like I would be surprised if it actually gets pushed back. This is the one time I'll say that where I'm surprised if this gets pushed back because I have
Well, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's going to be close to 3 years from Sekiro's release when this game comes out. So,
yeah
I mean, like you said, I agree with you. The stuff that the update they did for Sekiro early or later last year wasn't much. Like it wasn't like there wasn't new content really or anything like that. It was just like some like modes and adjustments and things you can do. So I think they've been working on this pretty much all hands on deck, pretty much since Sekiro came out for the most
yeah.
part, you know. So I wouldn't. I also think it will hit that date. One other game I want to mention here though is Tribes of Midgard. This game actually looks kind of cool. It's like a co-op survival game that looks like an action RPG, but you like build a settlement together. It's got a very cartoony look to it, but looks pretty solid, man. If I'm being honest, I saw this game a few times this weekend, and it is coming out soon. I think I want to say it's like October or something like that. Hold on, let me try to find the actual date in here. I can't find it in here, but it is coming. It is coming this year. So check that one out too. But yeah, that was pretty much it for the Summer Game Fest. I mean, there was a lot in here. There were definitely a lot of games
It was
shown.
definitely a lot of indies. I recommend
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
guys go watch it because the indies they
I agree.
showed were worth looking at in my opinion. There were so
Yes.
many though; it's like hard for me to name a lot of them. Um,
Yep.
the ones that stood out to me, I think I called was Death's Door. That one looks really cool. It's like an
Mm-hmm.
action. It's in the tune of like Hades. It's like the isometric action games.
Yes.
And it
Yeah.
looks really cool. But yeah, just please go check it out. Support the indie developers because they really snapped on their gameplay and showing off their games and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit something for
Um.
everybody.
Yep. One more too was Endless Dungeon. That looked kind of interesting too.
Yeah,
As well. So co-op looks like a co-op game. All right. Let's get into the one I know everybody's chomping at the bit for us to talk about. Xbox and Bethesda showcase happened a few hours ago from right now, and Montreal and I are a little divergent in our opinions of this conference. So, I mean, let's just jump in, Montreal. So, this one started, I think in the best way they could have started it, probably with just showing Starfield. Now they showed was an in-engine scene of a character walking around. It wasn't gameplay. There was no gameplay here. It was just an in-engine cutscene, basically, that they showed with some voiceover. They did put a date on it though, a release date, 11/11/2022. So what did you think of this? Are you excited about what you saw here? Do you
I,
think that date is going to be hit?
this is Bethesda now, so no.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, no, that's a realistic date. Honestly, if they had to say it this year, definitely no. But next year, yes, I think that should be hit because they've been talking about this game for like the last 2 years now, and
Mhm.
then I think it's almost been about 3 years since this game
I
been
mean,
announced. 3 or 4
they've been
years,
talking about
right?
this game for like 4 fucking years. Yeah,
Yeah,
fucking no. This game. Okay, so this got the conference off to a bad start for me, Montreal, and we're gonna go through my headspace as we talk about this because there was a moment late in the conference where I texted you and I was like, I fucking hate this conference,
yeah,
and I think I was just in that moment I was just like kind of exhausted with the conference. It was a long presentation. It was 90 minutes. It's pretty long. But this got me off to a bad foot because, dude, Bethesda. I kind of hate Bethesda, to be frank. I hate the way they handle their PR and I hate the way that they handle their marketing for games
yeah.
because they've been talking about this game for fucking years, like literally fucking years, and they're putting a release date of a year and a half from now, so 18 months, and you don't have fucking gameplay to show us at this point. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I don't believe this game's coming out next year. I really don't. Because like if it was, why aren't you showing gameplay now? What the fuck? Like show us something, anything. What is this game? It's an RPG in space. Like what the fuck does that? What is it? Like I don't. like everybody keeps assuming that this is just going to be Fallout in space or Skyrim in fucking space. I don't fucking know. They haven't fucking given us anything to go off of. The hype for this game makes no fucking sense to me. I don't understand why anybody's excited about this fucking game. Because it's a Bethesda game in space. Bethesda games suck. They haven't been good in 10 fucking years. Like, the fuck? Like, why are we giving them the benefit of the doubt here? Like, I'm like 100% fucking serious about this. I am so fucking tired of this company getting off with nothing. Like, they have proven nothing. Their games are like, they suck. Fallout 76 was a piece of shit when it came out. Fallout 4 is one of the most overhyped games I've ever fucking played. Skyrim, they keep banging Skyrim down our fucking throats for 10 goddamn years. Like, that's who Bethesda is. They have to rely on games that were good 10 years ago to get hype because they don't have anything. Like, they got nothing. Bethesda Game Studios has got fucking nothing. Okay, Elder Scrolls 6, somebody made a joke, it's gonna come out 11/11/30/30 or 2033. It probably fucking is, because they take 7 years to make a fucking game and they don't have gameplay 18 months before release. Fuck that shit. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of this fucking company. I'm so done with them. I hate the fact that they're part of Xbox now, because they're going to be in every one of their fucking presentations going forward. Todd Howard's going to come out and talk about 18 times the graphics or whatever the fuck bullshit he's going to dole out to hype their games up. Fuck that shit. I'm sick of this shit. This game.
You are absolutely right. I think you are where I'm at, like with Fallout 4, right? When Fallout 4 came out and I played it, the reason why I'm not as mad is like you are right now, because I went through this with Fallout 4. Like this, that energy you have, I went through it. And then when Fallout 76 came out, oh Jesus Christ, I blew a gasket. I probably had a heart attack because the game was fucking terrible. So I agree with you. I still think the game will be released next year. I think the only reason I say that is because I think Xbox is like reeling them in. Like, Xbox is like, okay, we announced this game, you have to do this, you know.
That is the one advantage of them being part of Xbox now. Is that I do think Xbox will hold them to dates somewhat. I do, as impassioned as I was just now, I do think they're gonna hit this date. I mean, it should be enough time for them to it's far enough out that I think they should.
But you were right though. We don't have any gameplay footage of this game at all. We don't know what this game's about, and people are assuming it's gonna. I think they're taking a whole new direction as far as like their gameplay. I don't think it's gonna be a Fallout or a Skyrim-esque game. I think it's gonna be a totally new game. Like, I don't know. It's gonna be in a new genre or something like that, or whatever.
No less RPG.
Yeah, less RPG. Maybe it's a story game or something like that. You know, like a story-driven game. So I mean, I don't know, but that's the problem. We don't know. And you're right. This game is super overhyped. I've never been hyped for it since release. Since it was not released but revealed, because I don't know what it is. And like you said as well, like ever since Fallout 4, I've been kind of de-hyped for all their games. We're not going to get we're not going to get an Elder Scrolls 6. The only way we'll get an Elder Scrolls 6 is if Blades die and if Elder Scrolls Online die. And unfortunately, both of those games are still making a lot of money for them. So I don't think we're ever going to get an Elder Scrolls 6, guys. I'm sorry. Like, there's no reason for them to invest money into Elder Scrolls now. They already have their cash cow from it. And then Skyrim just keeps selling. People just keep replaying Skyrim.
I think they're going to make it. It's just not going to come out for like 7 or 8 years, you know? Like, we're going to be in the next hardware generation by the time Elder Scrolls 6 comes out. That's how Bethesda is at this point. And so from a more analytical standpoint of the actual trailer, though, I do want to like kind of dissect this just a tad, because the contents of the trailer, there was an interesting piece to it, is that it seems like this game takes place in a time period where humanity might be early on in its space exploration. Which means it's got more of a frontier feel to it than other games we've played like this in the past. And that is an interesting concept to me, because it is going to be more like you are exploring planets for the first time, like no one's ever been here before, you know, kind of thing, or humanity's never been here before kind of thing, you know. Even with Mass Effect, like humanity had been in the stars or out in the galaxy for 20-30 years by the time you start playing, even longer than that, I think.
Yeah.
So they were a little bit more established at that in that universe. This one, it might be a little bit less of that. So that is intriguing to me. It's just I need to see something like gameplay, And at this point, it feels like we're not going to get any until next year, probably. Like that's kind of the point I think we're at, unless they specifically do an event to show something in the future. But I don't know. So, I mean, anything else you want to say about this game before we move on?
I'm good on this game.
Okay. All right. Next one was Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, which is a first-person shooter. And that will be a bit of a trend here with this conference. What did you think of it? I mean, it looks interesting. Not a game I'm going to play though, probably.
I like the first Stalker. I did play it on PC. It was a very fucking creepy game. So I am actually looking forward to Stalker 2. Especially, I just love that Chernobyl. I love Chernobyl games, like any game surrounded by Chernobyl or takes place around there. So that's my guilty pleasures. That's why I like this game. So I'm biased when it comes to this because I like any game or movie or show. Because I just think Chernobyl and like the surrounding areas like super interesting as far as like our history as humanity and technology and stuff like that and how we failed. So I think that's like really cool. So I am looking forward to this as well.
Yeah, so it's a console launch exclusive, meaning that it is going to have an exclusive window with Xbox more than likely. But it will come to PlayStation probably at some point in the future. Also going to be on Game Pass on day one, and it is coming out on the 28th of April, 2022. So not super soon, but within the next year. So I will say that is one thing to give credit here with Xbox is that most of the games they showed have dates. They gave release dates, which is a big thing for these conferences that I think we often complain about is that we don't even get release windows most of the time. But after that, next thing they showed was a short trailer for a game called Contraband. Didn't really get much out of this. I mean, there was no gameplay or anything like that. But anything you want to say about that one, Montrell?
Contraband? No, I didn't even see the gameplay for that one.
Yeah, there wasn't any. It was just a short trailer.
Okay,
that was the one with like the red like chest that they kept showing or whatever. I don't know. There wasn't much to take out of it. Then they showed Sea of Thieves is getting a new update, and it is a fucking crossover with Pirates of the Caribbean.
And I've actually been waiting for this shit.
God.
I think that's the coolest crossover. So now I mean, play as Jack Sparrow and listen to the
I mean, I understand, but dude, what they showed, like, it looks like almost like beat for beat, like just Pirates of the Caribbean 2 in the game, like because they had the woman who played the shaman woman from that movie. Davy Jones is in it. Jack Sparrow's in it. Like, it's freaking like what the fuck. They're like, it's a totally unique story, and I'm like, I mean, this looks a lot like the movie that already happened. You know,
sign me up because I'm definitely playing anything with Jack Sparrow in it. I'm playing.
Man. I mean, I will say the voice actor playing him sounded really good. He was doing a really good impression, for the most part. So I appreciated that. They said that's coming on June 22nd, so 9 days from when we're recording. And then they showed the entire Yakuza saga is on Game Pass now. So if you want to play those games and you have Game Pass and you're on Xbox, they are available to you as well.
Highly recommended.
Yes. Yeah. It looks fucking fun, actually, dude. It really does look goofy and fun. Like the stuff they were showing, those trailers, I was like, man, this is funny that it's on an Xbox conference because this shit is weird as hell and so Japanese. It's just like
it's unapologetically Japanese, and the games are just as fun, and it's just I don't know, man. You got to have a certain level of like love for it, I guess. I don't know, but when I played it, I was like, yo, I love the Yakuza games just for how they're just unapologetically Japanese.
Right. Then the next one. Okay. This was the trailer of the showcase, in my opinion. This next one. Battlefield 2042, which had been revealed earlier this week with a just fully cinematic trailer, no gameplay, but they did a gameplay reveal during this conference. And bro, my God, I think I'm playing this game with you.
Call of Duty who? Call it.
Yeah,
Call it.
dude, this trailer blew me away. I was like, man, this is what Battlefield should be doing. Like, I don't know what they've been trying to do with the last couple entries, but I'm glad that they have finally come back here, because this is the kind of shooter I'm looking for. Large scale engagements, like, because it's supposed to be 64 versus 64 players on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5,
Yep.
32 versus 32 on the older devices, which is still pretty large scale. But dude, that kind of shit doesn't exist really for the most part in games at this point anymore. Like, I'd say like maybe Arma might be the only game that's doing anything like that. I don't even know if that game does that either, by the way. This shit, I don't know much. I'm kind of hyped, dude. This looked fucking sick, man. Like, no joke.
No, yeah, you have every right to be hype as I am. I saw this shit. I don't even want to watch the trailer no more, like, because I'll get too hyped. That's how that's how hype I am for this game. This game reminded me of when they first showed Battlefield 4 and they showed that fucking skyscraper fall, and I was like, oh shit, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. This is what actually it reminded me like kind of Bad Company. It's more serious than Bad Company, but when they showed the trailer for Bad Company, how total destruction it was, like that's how I felt when I saw it. And I get that same feeling when I see this game, and I can just remember all the memories I have just playing by myself. Like when I was playing Battlefield, I was playing the majority of the time by myself. I never had really a squad. I'd squad up with randos and then we just jump in and do our thing. But it would be cool to actually have a squad to play with and you play this game, man.
So me and you will play. I think Jet will play. I know Snakes will play with us. Well, he needs to get a computer before this game comes out, though. Like, we need to really get on him about that. Because I know he needs a PC for this game. And then maybe Brad will play with us, possibly. I don't know if Andy will. I don't know if he's into Battlefield or not. But I mean, even so, I mean, that's like 4 or 5 people, dude. That's pretty good. We'll be able to run around the battlefield together and like take objectives and shit. You know, I mean, this looks cool. The weather system too, man, like looks fucking gnarly, man. Like some of the shit they were showing with like tornadoes and dust storms and stuff.
Yeah, they tried to experiment with that in Battlefield 4, I think. Yeah, it was. It was Battlefield 4, like the later expansions of it, later DLC. They had certain maps that would spawn like thunderstorms and tornadoes and stuff like that. But it looks like and then they kind of got away from it when Battlefield 1 and 5 came out. It looks like they're going back to it. Like, it looks like they're just going back to what made Battlefield, man. And I love it. This game is unapologetically Battlefield. Like, for real.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad it's back, man, because I've always been interested in Battlefield, but dude, it hasn't been good in years, you know? Like, everyone tells me, like, the last couple entries have just been so, like, not really Battlefield, you know? And yeah, this looks fucking good, dude. So the next trailer they showed was a short trailer for 12 Minutes, which is a game that I have been championing for years now on this podcast. And even before that, I've had my eye on this game for about 6 years now. So it looks sick, but we got a date. It's coming on August 19th, and it's going to be on Game Pass fucking day one. So you know I'm playing this shit when it comes out. So I'm super excited for it. Voice cast: James McAvoy's playing the main male character. Daisy Ridley is playing the female character, and then Willem Dafoe is playing the cop.
Oh, okay.
Those are the 3 characters in the game. But yeah, fucking A+ voice cast there. So that is sick, dude. This game looks fucking awesome, and I'm really looking forward to playing it. So check that trailer out if you haven't. It looks really good. Next thing they showed was Psychonauts 2, which is coming on August 25th. This game looks like Psychonauts. I don't have much to say about it, but Montreal, you interested in this at all?
I'm not a big Psychonauts fan, but I know it has a huge cult following. So I'm glad they're getting their game back.
True, right. Then they showed a bunch of Game Pass games coming from Bethesda, a bunch of Doom games, Doom Eternal, Fallout 2, Fallout Tactics, which actually that's fucking sick. I can play those on console, maybe? or I guess I'd have to do it on PC. But either way, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, yep.
And of course, Skyrim got its obligatory mention at this point in the conference, and I wanted to kill myself because just let that fucking game go, please, God, please, enough. And then Fallout 76 also had its obligatory mention. They mentioned the new expansion called Steel Rain. It's going to take place in Pittsburgh. It's coming in 2022. Who fucking cares? Then Elder Scrolls Online came and showed some stuff optimized for the new consoles. And then they showed a game called Party Animals coming in 2022, which was like a weird isometric like brawler game where you're like these like cutesy looking animals attacking each other with things, and I don't know.
Oh yeah, I did see that. It looked pretty. It looks like a fun game. Hopefully, it's like free to play.
Yeah,
it's like a fun streamer game. I say like somebody streaming it will have a lot of fun playing it.
Yep. And then Hades was shown, and it is coming to consoles. Well, obviously it's on Switch, but it's coming to the other consoles, so Xbox and PlayStation 5. They didn't mention PlayStation 5 at the conference, but there was an announcement, on Twitter or whatever, that it is coming to PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. I believe that's happening in August as well. And I actually think I'm going to check this game out when it comes out then, because everybody raves about this game, and I just kind of feel like I need to play it. It does look like my kind of game. So next trailer they showed was for Somerville, which is coming in 2022, and it looked like a kind of an isometric game where you're playing like a family that lives in this kind of, seems like a fucked up world where there are these monsters chasing them. But there was also this character jumping around who was like firing this like energy beam weapon at things, and it was very weird looking. But Montrell, what did you think about this one? This one interest you at all?
No, this one I actually didn't see. I think I was going to the bathroom or something when I
okay,
this one. Yeah,
gotcha. Fair enough. Well, worth watching the trailer. It was a pretty good trailer. And then the next thing they showed was Halo Infinite. This was the next big one. It is launching this holiday. They didn't give it a specific release date, but they showed a lot. They showed the in-game engine again, and then they also started talking about multiplayer, and it really sounds like they are going out of their way to expand multiplayer kind of more towards where it was with Halo 3, I think, where you're going to have the ability to make your own modes and game modes and shit, which is a huge thing with Halo. Similar to like Warcraft and StarCraft, where custom games were a big part of that game's success. Halo 3 also had that with the Forge, and it looks like they're kind of bringing that back in a big way here. So,
yeah.
But what did you think about this new trailer?
I saw some people kind of hating on it, but I think, it looked like it was going back to its roots of like Halo 3, Halo 2-ish.
Yeah.
They only added like one thing, was the grappling hook, and I think that's probably a great addition. It didn't look like it was going to be overpowered or anything. You can probably make a lot of good plays. I was really impressed by the multiplayer trailer. I think it can probably, especially in this stream culture and stuff like that we have now, it can probably bring Halo back to the forefront of like multiplayer games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Do you think it's actually going to hit holiday? Because the fact that the reason I asked this is because the fact that they gave a window and not a specific release date is weird. This close.
I want to say the multiplayer may hit holiday, or no, the campaign may hit holiday. The multiplayer might be a little bit better, or it might be delayed.
They did mention they split those, so the multiplayer is going to be free to play, and it is going to be like a live service game. It's going to have its own content and in-game transactions you can purchase. Because they mentioned the first season will start when the game launches, and the campaign will be a purchasable thing. So on its own, I'm assuming $60 or $70 for that. So that's interesting. It's also going to be on Game Pass, of course. So I actually do think I'm going to play this game because it's going to be on Game Pass. So I'll probably be checking this out, to be honest with you. Then they showed, after that, Diablo 2 Resurrected. It's coming on the 23rd of September. We finally got a release date for that. This is not going to be in Game Pass. It's just interesting. They just, I guess, wanted to show a Blizzard trailer, and Blizzard wanted a place to show this. We're probably going to lose our friend Jet for life when this comes out, because he is the biggest Diablo 2 fan I have ever fucking met.
And this game looks really good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. So we may be checking that out too. I don't know. We're making all these lofty fucking promises of all these games we're gonna play, and I'm just like, dude, we don't have time for this shit. Anyways, after that, they showed the follow up to a Plague Tale Innocence, which is called A Plague Tale Requiem, and it's coming in 2022. It looked like more of a Plague Tale based on what I know of it. Montreal, did you ever play the first one?
No, I didn't even know there was a first one.
Okay, fair enough. It's actually a really big game. Very popular. Has sold a fuck ton of copies.
Really?
Way more than you would think. This game has been a top 10 seller on PlayStation in particular for like ever since it came out, which I cannot explain to you why or how, because I barely heard anything about this game as well. But I know it exists, but it's not like I see people talking about it all the time, you know. But interestingly enough, very, very popular game. Next, we saw another Far Cry trailer, which also looked good to me. Anything else you want to say about that?
Oh, nah, I said everything I had to say about it.
Gotcha. Then we saw Slime Rancher 2 coming in 2022. This game looks weird. That's kind of what they're going for, though, of course. And then after that was a game called Shredders, which is a snowboarding game, and it's coming in
Finally.
December.
God damn, I've been waiting for a snowboarding game.
It looked good, man.
Yeah, it
I
did.
thought it looked good. I doubt I'll play it, but for people who want a game like that, I'm glad these games. There's a little bit of diversity happening with some of these games coming. This is also going to be on Game Pass, I believe, as well. So look forward to that. Out of all the games we've talked about, by the way, only 3 of them aren't going to be in Game Pass. So I think it's Diablo 2 Resurrected, Far Cry 6, and then I think Battlefield. Maybe.
Yeah, I
I
think
think every
Battlefield.
other one of these
Yeah.
games is going to be on Game Pass day one. So that's a big part of this conference for them. Next one was Atomic Heart, which is a first person open world ARPG. I don't have much to say about it, but anything you want to talk about with that?
No, I mean it looks cool. I mean, so that's what we were kind of talking about. Like a lot of these games are first person shooters, like they showed, but I give them respect for they know their audience as far as like how PlayStation knows their audience, right? With the third person action games, but they always put different genres within that third person aesthetic. And I think that's what
Yeah.
Xbox is doing. They know that first person is their core audience, but they put different genres in them to make people, try them out at least. So that's why I kind of respect that as far as that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more at the end when we discuss the overall conference. Then another game, a game called Replaced. It's coming in 2022. Not sure. I don't have much to say about it. Next one was Grounded, an update for Grounded where they showed like a spider monster is going to be joining the game. It looks kind of cool, I guess. Then Among Us again had another the same fucking trailer, has been in like every conference they can get get themselves into.
This game is good, but goddamn, like y'all know how to milk shit, bro. Whew.
For real, dude. They are milking hard on this game. Like literally, the update is like, oh, you can have a hat now. Okay. Great, dude. Like awesome. Really riveting stuff. Then surprise one they showed was Aiden Chronicle, which is the Kickstarter game made by this Suikoden creator, and it is a spiritual successor to the Suikoden games. And there's actually 2 games coming. One called Aiden Chronicle Rising, which looked like a 2D action game.
Yep.
And then Aiden Chronicle 100 Heroes, which is the proper game that was kickstarted. That is the actual like JRPG spiritual successor to Suikoden. The surprising part about this is these are coming to Game Pass. So Xbox has secured these games in such a way, in that way, to get them on Game Pass. So they're somewhat funding these games now too, which is interesting. Aiden Chronicle Rising had a window of 2022 as a release window, and then 100 Heroes is 2023 as its release window. So a bit of time for both of those, but interesting that they're already been secured for Game Pass despite that. Next thing they showed was Age of Empires 4, which, Age of Empires has been dormant for a long time. Age of Empires 3 was what, I don't know, 15 years ago now at this point, and people did not like it very much. But Age of Empires 4 looking pretty good. I'd say. I'm not sure I'm going to find the time to play it, but if I do, I will certainly give my thoughts on it. Montreal, any interest in this?
Well, I wanted to go back to Aiden Chronicles because, like, I think that game looks really fucking phenomenal.
Fair enough. Yep.
It reminded me of Golden Sun, and I can't wait for that game. But
yeah,
Age of Empires.
Not my style. Not my style. I don't like the Suikoden games personally.
Oh, really?
So,
Okay.
yeah.
But Age of Empires, though, yeah, it's been dormant. I have a soft spot in this game because it plays with my cousin like all the fucking time. We play Age of Empires for fucking hours. I probably have at least, I don't know, like 400 or 500 hours in that game. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So I am glad to see it come back. I just don't know how it's going to be receptive towards this generation. Like, even me, like, I'm like, I want to play it, but I don't know if I'm going to play it the way I used to play it, or
right. Right.
So
I mean, it's one of those things. This is a game like Age of Empires. A lot of these games, unfortunately, a lot of these games for us, I think, are just games that like we need people to play with, like our friends, and our friends just don't play a lot of games. So we have to be very like specific with the games we choose to play that are multiplayer based,
yeah,
because if we try to get into this, we've had people flake on us so many times, with these games, and then all of a sudden no one's playing and we're playing by ourselves, so I don't think Age of Empires is one of those games. Montreal, though, if you play it, I'll probably play it.
Okay.
Because it is going to be on Game Pass, and I'm going to have that. So I'm just going to have it by default anyways. So I'll definitely possibly check it out if you want to.
Okay, sounds good.
Next game was a reveal trailer for Outer Worlds 2. It was a very like tongue-in-cheek trailer making fun of game trailers. I didn't personally find it very funny, but a lot of people got a chuckle out of it. I mean, Outer Worlds 2, though, it's going to be exclusive to Xbox, not on PlayStation at all. Period.
Good.
So
good. I think they need something like, no, I'm not saying in a bad way, but I think they need something like this. They need something that's like not a fucking console launch exclusive. They need an actual exclusive game. Outer Worlds can be one of those games that, I mean, it's not going to be a system pusher, but it can make people think twice about, damn, maybe I do need to get an Xbox. So I know a lot of people like Outer Worlds.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of game that I got my Xbox for in anticipation of that. There are certain games that I'm not going to be able to play if I don't have an Xbox or PC, and I don't want to play every game on PC. Like, not every game fits on PC to me,
Yeah.
So next thing they showed was Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's going to be a crossover
good old reliable
with Top Gun Maverick. And it's going to be a free expansion coming to the game. They're also abandoning last generation with this now, so it's going to be an Xbox Series X and PC exclusive at this point. So they want to move forward. And after that, most of the rest of this was just Forza Horizon 5, and it's coming on November 9th. This was a total surprise, dude. Because they had not talked about this game prior to this conference, I believe. Like, nobody knew about this. So they just dropped this. It's coming on November 9th. They got a date. It's set in Mexico. It's an open world driving game, racing game. And they showed a lot of it, about 10 minutes, I'd say. And it looks gorgeous. I'll say that. Definitely looks fun. I don't know. This was an interesting way to end the conference to me. What did you think, Montreal?
I thought it was pretty cool. They also did show Redfall, which is by Arcane Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the end.
Well, yeah, I was gonna get to that.
Oh, okay.
But,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
All right, you have nothing else to say about Forza?
No, I mean, it looks pretty cool. I think a lot of people were hating on it, and I'm like, if this was like Gran Turismo, y'all would be sucking the game's dick. So I think the game looks really fucking good.
Probably. I mean, it definitely looks good. I mean, they've made a franchise out of that series at this point. Like,
yeah,
it is a hard hitter for Xbox in terms of sales and popularity as well. So, I mean, anybody bagging on it, it's like, I mean, you don't really know what you're talking about. It feels like, but yeah, after that, they did a one more thing, and they mentioned Arcane, and they were like, "We've got a new exclusive coming from Arcane," and obviously it wasn't Deathloop. It's called Redfall, and it looks to be some sort of co-op game where you are fighting vampires and other people that have guns. But the party that they showed within this was a full CG trailer, by the way, no gameplay at all. But these characters all had various powers that they could utilize in different ways. So it seems like it's probably going to be some sort of co-op shooter, almost class-based in some way. But what did you think, Montreal? Is this getting you excited?
It looked pretty cool. I think the character design and the banter looks really cool. So I am iffy though. I think it's gonna play like Fortnite or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I am.
They definitely have that aesthetic.
Yeah. So I am. I don't think it's gonna be like a Fortnite game. I just think the gameplay is gonna be like that. But with like
Yeah.
powers or stuff you can do. And it's like a
Mm-hmm.
horde shooter or something like that. So, um, yeah. But it looks cool. The trailer looked cool. But
Mm-hmm.
I am very iffy on what the gameplay is going to be.
Yeah, I'm just. This is a game. I want to call this game out because this is the example for me of like everybody's like there's a lot of praise going towards this particular game coming out of this conference that I was hearing online and in a lot of videos I was watching, post coverage and stuff. And I'm sorry, I don't like. This is the kind of thing about the game industry that pisses me off about the way we cover games because what are you taking out of this? Like, they haven't shown us anything. They showed us a CG trailer. Like, we have no idea what the game's going to play like. We have no idea what it's going to look like. We have no idea how it's going to control. We don't know anything about it beyond this trailer. And this trailer just vaguely hints at some things that I kind of hit on when I first was introducing it. It's like people are getting like out of their mind hyped about this. Like we have some real concrete idea what this fucking game is. It's like, dude, it could be like a single player fucking co-op shooter for all, or like it could be like a single player based like co-op shooter where it's like a story driven game. Who fucking knows what it is? I don't know. It could be a horde mode game. I don't like. It could be both. Like, but like we have no idea what it is, like what the gameplay is. Beyond it is probably a shooter of some sort. That's really all we can take out of it. It's like, I don't know. I I I really caution people of like getting like over the moon hyped about things without knowing much about them at all. It's like I think it's like a dangerous thing to fall into because like this game could suck for all we know. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
just I don't know, and like we don't know anything. We have nothing to go off of, and
Well, I think people were excited about the
so
character designs,
yeah.
particularly like the one of the black female protagonists. I mean, she's
Hmm.
one of the protagonists, I should say. I mean, we really don't get too many black female protagonists in games. So when we do get one,
Yeah.
it's always a nice sight to see.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of
Yeah.
people are excited about that. But I agree with you. Everything else, like we don't know what this game's going to play like. It can be a fucking XCOM shooter game for all we know.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
we
Yeah.
don't know what it is. But I did see a lot of people praising the character designs, and I mean I agree with them. Like the character design did
Hmm.
look really good. I was hyped for that particular reason, but then I dehyped myself because I'm like, yeah, we don't know what the game's gonna play like.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely
So
agree with that.
I'm sure we'll see gameplay. I mean, they put a 2022 summer 2022 window on it, so I mean it's only a year from now. So like we'll definitely see gameplay soon, I would imagine, for sure. But so yeah, that was it. That was it for their conference. I mean, overall, Montreal, where did you stand on this? Like, how did you feel about it?
I give it a 7. 7. If I was to
Hmm.
grade it, it's like a 7 out of 10. Um,
Hmm.
I respect the fact that they played to their strengths,
Yeah.
but like we mentioned before, I think they need a little bit more diversity as far as like gameplay and everything of that nature. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I also know why they're hesitant. I did tweet this out as well. People expect Xbox to have JRPGs when y'all don't buy them on the Xbox. Like they
Hmm.
when Xbox 360 was selling way more than the PS3 at one point, no one bought the JRPGs until they got re-released on the PS3. I mean, I'm talking like
Hmm.
Tales of Vesperia,
Yeah.
and then even then, people had to go back and find these games and stuff like that. Fate's Resonance of Fate, I believe. Yeah, Resonance of Fate.
Mm.
That was a good one that came
Yep.
out on 360, and then
Way bigger on PlayStation.
yeah, way bigger on PlayStation. I want to say Nier was an Xbox exclusive. I know Square Enix intended on it to be an Xbox 360 exclusive. Then they just released it on both consoles.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, like my point still stands. Like they tried this already in the 360 and it didn't work out well because we didn't buy those games on the 360. So we bought first person shooters and stuff. So I mean, they're playing to their strengths as far as that. One thing I am really happy to see is no Call of Duty. Like we didn't see any Call of Duty
Mm-hmm.
out of this at all.
Anywhere, actually.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So I am happy to see that. Like they're kind of break. Oh, and we didn't see any Madden, or we didn't see any sports games.
Oh yeah, that's damn, man. Yeah, you're right. That is fucking weird.
Yeah. So
you know what though? EA's got their thing in July,
oh
so
yeah,
we're
that's
gonna see
true.
all that shit. We're gonna see all that shit there. Yeah, thinking
Yeah.
about that, but not Call of Duty though.
Not Call of Duty, but yeah, like Madden and FIFA and all that stuff like that. But usually they give you like a little hint, like, "Oh, this is what we're going to be showing later," or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I do respect them for that, you know. But that's where the 3 points they were missing. Like, I think they need a little bit more diversity. We didn't see, and this is a personal thing for me. We didn't see any Hellblade 2. We didn't see any Fable, and
Mm-hmm.
that was another game.
Avowed, we didn't see.
We didn't see Avowed at all.
Yep.
Like we didn't see any of these other like obscure like RPGs or action games that they have in making, like from some of the other studios that that we know that makes really good games in general. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. That's why, but I still think it was a solid conference. I really respect that almost everything had a release date on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also respect the fact that they are realistic in those release dates. A lot of these games are coming out next year, fall next year, summer next year. A few of them coming up. I think one or two are coming
Mm-hmm.
up in like January. But I respect that. Like at least I know what to look forward to when I buy my Xbox. Whether I want to decide to buy it now or later, like you have a choice if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not I'm not as like negative as you probably think I am on it. I'd probably give him a 6.
Okay.
This is a solid. This was a solid conference. Like this was well produced. It was nonstop games. Like there was almost no break in here, where you could really walk away and do something else. It was. I mean, it was just game after game after game, and almost every single one of them had at least a release window, or even better, a release date. And the fact that almost all of these are coming to Game Pass is a huge get for Xbox. My issue with it is that it's the diversity issue that you were talking about with the games. Is that it's mostly like existing games. They talked about a lot of existing games, or it's shooters in some form, mostly first person, or like Forza, like a racing game. A lot of the other stuff that they talked about, yes, there's diversity in terms of the conference overall, but it's like the first party exclusives aren't diverse. And I want to talk about this though, is that this is an issue Sony has as well, which we've talked about many times, is that they have the same problem in a different way, where they have an addiction to third person action games, whether they're shooters or just action games. And like that they do it well, and they have a niche there, and their audience really likes that stuff. It's just overall for me, I want a little bit more from these companies. Like they have a very wide range of diverse studios, especially Xbox at this point. And I mean, to be fair, they got Psychonauts 2, which that is a unique game. It's just like it's not a heavy hitter though. I guess is
Yeah.
kind of what I'm getting
Yeah.
at. Like I'm looking for diversity in the AAA space of their first party. And it seems like they're a little reticent to go there, which I find strange, given some of the studios they've acquired. I mean, obviously, Avowed's going to be different. That's going to be a first-person like fantasy game, and then Fable will also be probably a third-person action game as well. It's just we didn't see that stuff. So this conference comes off as kind of one note in that regard, because a lot of the best things we saw were first-person shooters. Stalker 2, Battlefield, Halo, even Starfield's probably going to be first person as well. I mean, that's just a lot of the stuff we saw was first person games. So, and then we think, the Redfall as well is probably going to be a first person shooter or third person, probably one of the two. So, Um, it's just that's my biggest issue with what they showed, I guess. But even so, solid conference. I think it was the best one of everything we saw at E3 so far. um, I'm just, I don't know. Like right now, I was talking to you before the show. Is just I'm like kind of a little disenfranchised with the games right now, like in terms of the industry at large, because I don't know. It kind of seems like we're just like repeating a lot of what we got the last 7 or 8 years, you know? There doesn't seem to be a lot of like exploration of what we can do now that we have these powerful consoles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like honestly, Battlefield, weirdly enough, might be the one game that's like really trying to do something like different, you know, because it's gonna be a large scale PvP shooter, you know, where it's 64 versus 64. Like that's not something that has been explored a lot, especially in the console space, in a long time. So that's like the one game I can really point to that I'm like excited about, you know, from this conference. Like most of the rest of this stuff just looks like more of the same.
No,
You know,
you're
it's just
right.
kind of games we've seen before, like concepts we've seen before. And I think this is where my issue comes in is that a lot of these games, most of them are coming to Xbox One still, you know? And that is continuing to hold us back. And this is true of PlayStation as well. They're not free from this criticism either. Like they have an issue with this as well, that Horizon is going to be on the old consoles. God of War is going to be on the old consoles. Like what the Gran Turismo even is going to be on the old consoles. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, are we going to move forward at some point with
Well,
these games?
like we
Because
discussed it. I
I don't
mean,
know.
a lot of people have been pointing that out, but we discussed it. Like either you,
Mm-hmm.
either they put them on the old consoles,
Yeah.
or they
And
leave
make money.
and make money, or they don't.
Yeah.
I think
Which,
another
yeah.
solution is to try to actually combat the scalpers
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that, because yeah, there's a
Mm-hmm.
shortage. Yes, I understand that, but
Yeah.
the shortage is not coming from a lack. To me, the shortage is not coming from a lack of the product. It's the lack of bots holding up the product. Like the scalpers are taking everything, and I think until they combat that, then yeah, we're going to get this influx of games that are going back to Xbox One and PS4. I think that. I think calling everything a shortage, in my opinion, is a kind of disingenuous. I actually don't think there's a shortage. I think there's a shortage of real people buying these products. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not to get on a tangent, but like it's happening everywhere as far as like games and everything. Like people are holding thousands of consoles or hundreds of consoles and hundreds like even like in like the gun world, people are hoarding ammo and then selling it for twice as much on like gun broker and all these other sites. So I really don't think there's a shortage, in my opinion. Like I think there's just a abundance of people who have the means to buy all this stuff. They hoard it,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're scalping it off other people, if that makes any sense. That's what I feel like. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to clarify last week too, because we talked about this last week, obviously with God of War and stuff, and I did say that like it wasn't something we needed to kind of freak out about, and that we probably need to get more used to. It's just like I don't know. I started thinking about it more between then and now, and it is a kind of a thing where it does hold the games back. You know, like
Yeah.
it definitely does. I mean, there's very clear ways in which it holds them back too. Like this 64 by 64 thing with Battlefield, like you're literally seeing it with that game. They said the old consoles will only be 32 versus 32, you know? Like that is a clear limitation of the game. And I'm sure some of the weather effects might be lessened and stuff like that. Like there are gameplay elements that are going to be reduced with that specific game. And then like Ratchet and Clank came out last week or this
There's
a couple
no
days
way in
ago.
fucking hell that can play on the PS4. No way.
Absolutely. Right. And that has a tangible gameplay effect. You know, there are gameplay elements in that game that you cannot do on a PlayStation 4, you know? Like and that's kind of what I'm getting at here is that I want to see more of that and I feel like we're stuck in this like 2-year, 3-year holding pattern where we're not going to be getting a lot of games like that in the near future, I think. And that kind of sucks. Like I don't know. it's a little disappointing in that regard. And this conference did very little to like comfort me in that way. I'm not seeing a lot here that is pushing gaming, and that's kind of my biggest takeaway from the entirety of E3 so far is that we're kind of just repeating last gen a lot with what we're doing right now, I think, and that sucks. I'm not super happy about that, so it is what it is. But so I mean, Montreal, is there anything else you want to talk about before we move on with the Xbox conference?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, fair enough. We do have a little bit more news before we go that has happened as well. So I want to talk about this one specifically because this is not being talked about a lot, but it's kind of a big story in my opinion. So EA, people were seeing that a lot of EA's old Need for Speed games weren't on digital storefronts, and EA confirmed on Memorial Day that they have taken down the following Need for Speed games for purchase: Need for Speed Carbon, Shift, Shift 2 Unleashed, Undercover, and The Run. And you cannot buy them on Xbox Live, PSN, or other online stores, including Steam, anymore. They're not for sale, period. You can't buy these games. If you own them, you can still download them. But anybody who wants to buy them, you're going to have to look for a physical copy if they exist. That's your only way. That's going to be your only way to play these games. And this is not being talked about, dude. But I mean, to me, this is like fucking crazy. I can't believe this. Like, the Need for Speed community is like apoplectic about this right now, and they very well should be, because I can't see why the fuck they would take these games off the stores. Yeah, sure, shut their servers down, whatever the fuck you want to do with that, but taking the games off the store, like, you can play them offline, most of them. I'm pretty sure almost all of these you can play offline. So like, what the hell, dude? I mean, what do you think about this?
I think they're ramping up for some kind of remaster.
You think so?
Yeah,
Mate.
but no, but it's still egregious. Like they're creating
Yeah.
they're creating a demand. And
I mean, I think this is just like this is a clear indicator of what we've talked about for years on the show, is like the all digital future is not what it's cracked up to be, dude, because EA doesn't have to sell these games. Like, none of these publishers do. They could take them down whenever they want for any reason. There doesn't have to be a reason. They could literally just say, we don't want to sell it anymore. Like, we don't want to deal with returns or refunds or any of that bullshit with these games, or supporting them even, if like getting support tickets and shit like that. Like, there's a myriad number of reasons why they would stop selling them. But that's kind of our point, that sucks, like,
yeah.
I don't see it happening a lot, but dude, this is Need for Speed. This isn't a small franchise. Need for Speed's pretty big. It has a pretty big fan base, and it's a well-known IP. And they're doing it for these games. It's like some of these aren't even that old. Like 2013 or 2014, I think The Run came out, something like that. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm personally a little leery of this, but maybe you're right. Maybe we're gonna get a remaster.
Yeah, I mean, but even still, I agree with you. I don't think there are plenty of games. Mass Effect is one of them, right? That game's clearly still in the stores right now. I can buy that on the Xbox stores right now, if I wanted to. But I don't think that affected the remaster sales. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
Even if they are making some kind of remaster, it still doesn't justify them pulling these games off the store.
Yeah, right. Because some people might not have the newer platforms.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think it's going to be one of those things. Even if we were like super big or popular, people would be like, "So what? There's an old games. No one cares." And yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like you're beating the dead horse at this point, because people will be like, "Well, whatever. All digital still the future." I mean, I don't have to go to they're gonna do the same thing anyway. Like, if you buy a physical game, you gotta still download off the server and everything like that. And it's like, I guess you have a point there, right? But
but I just caution people, if you feel that way, like, don't give up ground for no reason.
Yeah,
like, Just don't. Because if you say that, then what's going to stop them from delisting these games sooner? When they like delisting something a couple of years after it comes out because it doesn't sell that much anymore and they don't want to deal with it. Like I don't know. Like there's plenty of games that have come out over the last 5 years or even longer than that I've always had in the back of my head that I have a list of like a running list of games that I want to buy and play at some point. And what would happen if I go to that list and it's like, oh, I want to play Pyre today, and I don't own Pyre, like I would have to go buy it, but they fucking just took it off the store. That's a digital only game, for whatever reason, and I can't buy it anywhere. And it's like I just can't play Pyre, like even though I wanted to. Like I mean, that's a hypothetical example. They're not going to take Pyre off the PSN or any of these stores, but let's say a game like that though, or even Need for Speed, like fuck it, dude. Like The Run, that is a Need for Speed game I've always wanted to play and just never found the time for. And I mean, I know, sure, you're probably saying to yourself, well, you're probably never going to find the time for it, and you're probably fucking right. But thing is, I can't play it now. I have to go buy a used copy, a physical copy, which is now suddenly probably going to be worth like 3 times as much as it was selling for last week, because you can't buy the games digitally anymore. So it's like they've created this fucking aftermarket for Need for Speed games. Like what the fuck? Like I always wanted to play The Run, and like I'm playing Heat. I've been playing Heat. I was playing Heat a few weeks ago, and I want to get back to it, but that was kind of getting me in the mood for Need for Speed. I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll go play The Run or something after this because I always wanted to play that one. It's like, well, fucking now I can't unless I want to spend more money on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's a shitty situation. I don't think this is a good way to treat your fan bases. There's no real good reason to do this, in my opinion. But maybe EA has some internal reason why that is justified to them. But
yeah, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Microsoft, outside of their E3 conference, actually announced this week that they want to get into allowing people, partnering with smart TV manufacturers to allow people to play Xbox games via Xbox Game Pass on smart TVs without an Xbox. So this would more than likely be a cloud-based experience, is what they mentioned. But Montreal, how does this sound to you? I mean, this is an interesting thing for them to try because I think it makes perfect sense. I mean, if you're going to really push streaming, cloud gaming, I mean, why not? Fuck it. Why do you need an Xbox to do this?
I actually think I won't do the opposite, but it'll actually pull people more towards the Xbox economy. Or is that the word I'm looking for? Ecology? Maybe I forgot.
The Xbox
ecosystem. There you go.
Yes.
It'll pull them more towards the Xbox ecosystem and then probably get people to actually buy an Xbox, whether it be an Xbox Series. And they have options too, right? You don't have to buy the Xbox Series X. You can get the cheaper option. Like, well, I like these games. I don't feel like spending $500 for one. Cool. We have an investment for you, $300. And it's probably going to be cheaper next year. So $200, $250 to get into the Xbox ecosystem. You can buy the Xbox Series S and have fun with that. So, I think
it makes sense. Yeah, I agree with you too. Like, I mean, you'll play the games on cloud on your TV. It probably won't play that well, but you're like, well, fuck it. I kind of want to play this game in its best form. So let me go just get an Xbox, get Game Pass and bang, there you go. You don't even have to buy any games. Like, so I think it's a smart idea. I think it's a good way to kind of expose the brand to people as well. Give people options too. I mean, shit, even if you're on say you're on a work trip or something and like you're in a hotel and it's a smart TV that's compatible with this technology, like maybe you could play your fucking Xbox games while you're on a trip, without having your console with you. So I think that's another good reason for this kind of thing too. Okay. Our last news story is from PlayStation. This was actually on the Summer Game Fest as well. I didn't mention it there because we were going to talk about it here. But they announced a partnership with a developer called Deviation Games. They're going to be making a new IP for PlayStation. This, in and of itself, not an interesting story because they've done this now 3 times. This is the reason I'm bringing this up. They've done this 3 times in the last few months where they've announced a partnership with a new development studio making a new IP in a second party capacity. there's no information on this game they're making. All it is all they said it's a new IP. They don't have any info on even what kind of game it is, whether it's a shooter, action adventure, whatever the hell, fighting game, whatever it is. So I kind of want to I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to ask you, like, do you think is this Sony's kind of answer to all these acquisitions that Xbox has been making in the past couple of years?
Um, I don't think so. I think Sony's is still well ahead of Xbox as far as that. We won't
Mm-hmm.
see any kind of okay, maybe. I'll take that back. Maybe they're
Mm-hmm.
slowly doing it because, like we said, we won't see any kind of a leeway from the acquisitions that Xbox got until 2022, 2023. And if
Mm-hmm.
things start really ramping up in 2023, especially, um, then maybe Sony will be like, all right, we need to. I feel like maybe over the next couple of months we will start seeing this a little bit more. So maybe it is a slow answer, but I think it's a very cautious answer. Like they're like
Yeah.
cautiously doing it. They're not going bar for
Mm-hmm.
bar with Xbox right
Yes.
now. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense. So because I
Yeah,
was
I agree with
at
you.
first I was going to
Yeah.
say no, but as I started talking to myself in my head, I started to think about it, and I'm like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I can see Xbox pulling out some very heavy hitters in the next 2 years from these studios they acquired.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I agree. I think this is sort of an answer. I don't think this is the whole answer, but I think this is a easy short-term way for Sony to spend a little bit of money, make some partnerships without buying studios outright, to kind of say, hey, we're doing stuff too.
Yeah,
It's not necessarily like these aren't heavy hitters. We're not even getting any info on these games. These games aren't going to be out for years, but at least it's something. And I don't personally like this. This shit annoys me, to be honest with you. Announcing these studio partnerships with no game to show for it is like, I mean, okay, great, but it does indicate to me that they feel a need to respond to Xbox in some way. I think Xbox's pressure is getting to Sony. Like, I think that is clear from this to me, but we'll see what comes of these partnerships as well. I'm not sure, but um, it does make sense for Sony though to not necessarily buy a bunch of studios. I don't think they need to do that. Maybe one or two ones that really, really make sense. Somebody like Blue Point or something like that. But these ones, these like startups, I see no reason to buy this without a game to show for it. Without ever having proven anything. We don't know if these studios are going to be able to make good games, and Sony doesn't either. Even if they think the talent's there.
yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense. Cool. All right, Montreal. So we've gotten through all the news. Do you want to talk about what we've been playing first, or do you want to do our listener questions?
Let's do our listener questions.
Got it. Okay. Well, that dude coming through once again. He sent us in a couple more questions. The first one: what was the game that really pulled you into this hobby? Montreal, would you like to go first, or you want me to go first?
I can go first because mine is pretty quick. I
Okay.
already talked about it before. I mentioned it earlier in the podcast. The first
Mm-hmm.
game that got me into the hobby, or that really got me into the hobby, was Sonic. I played Sonic the Hedgehog, and ever since then, it's been history. It's been yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's been like history from there. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I didn't start. I don't know if you can consider that serious gaming, but I did have a lot of Genesis games when I was younger. So
Mm-hmm.
it was I was into the hobby. I didn't know it was a hobby though because I was like young as fuck. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was very into it. Definitely was like things where if I couldn't go outside, I'd just play my video games or something of that nature. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Sonic was the one that started for me though.
Yeah, for me, it's actually interesting because I wouldn't say I became like a true just like gamer where like this is the thing I do with my free time until I was like a teenager.
Okay.
Honestly, and now I don't want to like you know kind of like fib about it in any way. Like I played plenty of games before then, but um, I'd say the big one when I was younger, PC gaming for me was really the thing that convinced me that this hobby was like special. Early console games for me, like SNES games and even N64 games, I do love those devices, but those games weren't up until like Banjo, I'd say on N64, I wasn't like blown away by what I was playing. I was more blown away in the PC space. I think there was a lot of interesting shit happening in the late 90s in that space. There was like, Warcraft 2, StarCraft, Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Those were like huge fucking games for me in my youth that I put dozens and dozens or fucking hundreds of hours into, kind of thing. So I'd say those are the games that really hit it for me. And I'd particularly key on Heroes of Might and Magic 3. That was really the big one that became like an obsession for me for a large period of time. And that was the game I played with my brother and my dad, particularly my dad the most, especially even into the 2000s and 2010s. I was still playing that game with him all the time. That was just like our go-to game, for a long time. So that was really the game that like got me hooked on a video game for the first time, really, where I just like I could not fucking put it down, and I could play it at any time, anywhere. It didn't matter. We'd be on a trip and we'd have like a few hours of downtime at the end of the night. We'd just pull out the laptop and start playing Heroes of Might and Magic 3, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the game that like just like got me like addicted to the hobby in that way. So that was a big one for me. Next, his other question: what is a dormant or forgotten franchise that you want to see brought back to life? You want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, I got an easy one. I've talked about this franchise plenty of times. Tactics Ogre.
Oh my god.
Square Enix.
Let it go. Let it go.
Fuck you, dude. No. You know what? I'm going to put Final Fantasy Tactics in here too, because these two games are married at the hip to me. They're very close games. They inspired. They kind of inspired each other. Weirdly enough, because there was a Tactics Ogre game after Final Fantasy Tactics came out, but Tactics came out after Tactics Ogre. So, the original one. And yeah, I mean, those are the franchises I want back. I just want a new entry, something, dude. Like, it's like because they remade Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together, in like 2011 on the PSP, and that was the weirdest thing. It just came out of nowhere, and it just kind of happened, and it came and went, and it's been 10 years now, and it's like fucking weird, dude. I'm like, why did they do that? Were they like trying to see if this franchise could sell? Like, was that what they were trying to do? And did it not sell well? And that's it. Like, it's just dead now. Cause it's like, I like the universe of Tactics Ogre. I think it has a great world, and it's like there's really interesting fucking lore in that universe, like the nations that are in it and a lot of the characters as well. So, I'd love to see it be brought back, but yeah, it's never gonna happen. So, Montreal, what's yours?
I think mine's is maybe I can't. There's so many, to be honest with you. I think mine's
there is
for me is like Shinobi. I really want to see Shinobi come back from Sega. I think that franchise has been dormant for a while, and I think it's well within its rights to come back now, especially since we got like the Ninja Gaiden remasters and stuff like that. I think another Ninja game would be cool. But mentioning that, I also think Tenchu come back. I really want another stealth ninja game, like an actual stealth ninja game, and Tenchu, Wrath of Heaven, and other Tenchu games were like true stealth games. They weren't action games; they were true ninja stealth games. And I actually like that aspect of it a lot.
Yeah, one more for both of us, Bit and Katos. I know we should. Let it go,
we gotta let it.
I can't.
That's why I didn't mention it, because we mentioned it so many times.
I can't, bro. I can't. Ugh, I can't. But yeah, understood. All right. Thanks for the questions. If you also have questions for us, please send those to at the Players Take on Twitter or the Players Take 01 at gmail.com. Those are the places that we would love to hear your questions. Thank you, Dad Dude, for sending those in. Again, and Montreal, let's end in a weird way, usually where we start. I guess with what we've been playing, do you want to talk about what you've been playing, and then we can kind of talk about the one game I've been playing together, since we're both playing it?
You say what? I'm sorry. I I had something pop up on my
Montrell.
screen.
Oh my
I did. I'm sorry. I'm
god.
sorry.
Oh my
I'm
god.
sorry. Something
You're
popped up
killing me.
on my screen.
Do you want to talk about the games you've been playing, and then we'll talk about the one we're both playing afterwards at the end?
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about the games we're playing.
No, I know, but I'm only playing one game, is what I'm saying.
Oh well,
That we're
we're
both
we're, we're
playing.
both only playing one
So,
game. I mean, I didn't change my
okay, well,
list.
you have 4 listed. Are you still
That
playing any of
list is
those?
old.
Okay, I mean, you didn't update it. Watch out. You're killing me right now. Oh my gosh. Okay, fuck it. We're playing Final Fantasy 14, and I'm addicted to this game. I haven't played any other games in 2 weeks. Literally, have not played another video game in 2 weeks. Well, okay, that's not true. I did boot up Phantasy Star Online 2, New Genesis for like 20 minutes one day during the week this week. But otherwise, it's been Final Fantasy 14 from wall to wall. I don't know about you. I mean, you've been playing. It's just like you're not playing every night like I am because you have a life and stuff like that. So, I mean, Montreal, where are you at with Final Fantasy 14? How are you feeling about it? Are you still having fun? You looking forward to playing more?
All right, so yes and no. So I am looking forward to playing it more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having fun. The problem is like the class I picked is like
Yeah.
not as fun as I thought it was going to be. When I saw Dark Knight, I expected it to be a lot more flashy, and I think that's really the aesthetics of like Final Fantasy. The problem is I won't get it's not it's really 1, 2, 3. It has one macro, one fucking I don't know what rotation. It has one rotation,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it for right now. You won't get any
Mm-hmm.
other rotations until like level 65 or some crazy shit like that. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm playing through this and it's slogging and it's really hard. And I'm a tank, so we really don't get too many flashy moves in general. But I was impressed that the paladin had two rotations. So for the Dark Knight to get two rotations at like level
Mm-hmm.
65 compared to the pally who has it at level 50,
Mm-hmm.
it sometimes it's hard for me to maintain aggro. It's hard for me to do a lot of stuff because you won't get that extra damage input until you get like level 65. Because once you get like higher level, okay, I finally fucking killed you, fucking Nat. Sorry.
That's what he was distracted by. Okay.
Uh, once you get a high damage input at like level 65, and
Mm-hmm.
honestly, you can't take their the aggro off the Dark Knight. And I experienced that firsthand when I was going against it, or when I was tanking with them. They hold aggro like nobody's business. So they are a very
Mm-hmm.
top tier fucking tank. It's just you got to get to that point. So for me right now,
Mm-hmm.
it's just really getting through that level. Like I'm playing old content, and I'm not even playing story content on top of that because I'm just trying to level to level 50. I think once I get to level
Mm-hmm.
50, and I start playing the story content again, I'll start enjoying the experience more. But for right now,
Yeah.
it's just a slog for me right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know what you're going through, and we got to get you to 50. That's why I was trying to help you yesterday because I know what you're going through right now, and I just know it's not that fun. Because you're playing a lot of shitty dungeons that aren't well designed, that are old from A Realm Reborn. They don't drop good gear. Like you're not getting anything out of the experience. It's just like, and you're doing it over and over and over and over again. Um, so you're level 47 though, so you're not far. We just need one play session, I think, one night, maybe tonight if you're gonna get on tonight. If not, whenever you get on during the week, we just need to grab you and like pull you through a few more dungeons, and then you'll get to 50 and you can start doing Heaven's Sword, and you'll be on your way. At that point, I do agree with you with the ability kind of layout. It's interesting the way the game is because I'm playing Bard, and to be frank with you, Bard is like really fucking boring up until you hit level 50. Like the Realm Reborn design of Bard was really lacking in my opinion. I don't I feel like if people who played the game back then, like classes just seem so basic, like there just wasn't a lot going on. Whereas Bard is interesting when you hit Heavensward, like the abilities you get for Bard from 50 to 60, like really change the class up and in a really good way. There's a lot more to do, even in between cooldown, like global cooldown uses. Like there's a lot more abilities to kind of use, and I'm really having to like pay attention to my rotation now, where I'm like, I like between every global cooldown, I am using some cast of some sort, whether it's a buff cast or one of my instant attacks or something like that, or my own self buffs, so there's a lot going on with the class. I think it's a lot more fun now for me. And I think the same thing's going to happen to you. Is like you're going to hit those level thresholds where you get a lot of good abilities, and the class is going to become a lot more complex to play, and that's what's fun about it. So I find it interesting though to like feel that way, because it just feels like some of the classes get shafted, or have probably worse shafted at certain points in this game's history, where they just sucked or weren't very fun to play for whatever reason, and I don't know. It just intrigues me. So if any of you played Final Fantasy 14 and you know kind of what I'm talking about, if you've ever experienced that, like write in and let us know, because I would love to hear about that. I'm just weirdly interested in that kind of thing. But otherwise, the game overall, like I'm still doing the main story quest, and we were complaining about that last week, about how much of a grind it was at the end of A Realm Reborn, but we all got through it. Montrell, me, everyone else we're playing with, we're all through A Realm Reborn, and it does get markedly better after that. Heaven Swords, I have finished Heaven Sword. I'm actually in Stormblood now. But the story in that expansion is really fucking good. And I'm starting to understand why this game's storyline is so heavily lauded. Because there's just there's a lot going on. There's a lot of politics. It's definitely got that, like, this is like trite at this point, but like Game of Thrones kind of shit going on all the time, between the nations and characters. And I'm kind of getting tired of like using that as the baseline, Montreal. That's just kind of, but I don't know what else to call it
it
at this
does it
point.
so well. So I mean, I understand it.
I know,
Yeah.
I know, but there's a lot of backstabbing happening. There's like double agents and even triple agents at times, happening with things. So it's like there's a lot of stuff going on in this game world, politically, and even with your own character and talking to other people or other NPCs. But I think the thing that I'm really starting to really fucking enjoy with this game is the character development of the individuals that you adventure with. A lot of the other scions of the Seventh Dawn, and even other characters that aren't them, is that they spend a lot of time developing these characters, and it's almost like unheard of in video games to do this. Like they spend a lot of time giving these characters thoughtful moments, even slow, kind of like quiet moments of contemplation where they're kind of thinking about things and like just having a discussion with each other. And it's not just action, 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 action all the time, and I really appreciate that as somebody who likes a good, well-told story in a video game. So I think A Realm Reborn, unfortunately, the problem with this MMO is that A Realm Reborn like kind of exists, and that you have to do it, because The Realm Reborn sucks. Like for the most part, like it is not a good story. Like the story in The Realm Reborn is really just trite and boring, and it's like for the like almost up for like 95% of it is just not interesting in any way. There are bits and pieces of like specific moments that I'd call out that are good, but most of that comes towards the very, very end, and especially in the patch part where there's really good scenes in there. But dude, you have to play for like 100 hours to get there, and I just like I'm struggling to recommend this game to people, because it's like you're going to be playing for like 200 hours before you even get to Endgame at this point. And when Endwalker comes out, it's going to be even worse. So that's like the biggest issue with this game, is like we're grinding through it, and I'm pretty far now. I'm like motivated to get there, and once I get there, I'm there, and that's the end of it. But I don't know, that's like the one element to this game. I think this game gets a lot of praise, and it should, rightly should. It's a very good MMO, but I think that one element of it is just, it's a huge caveat to me for new players,
Yeah, and returning players, because like
yeah.
I don't know how the new patch is going, but is it doing the same thing that like A Realm Reborn did, where is the story a little bit better as far as like
Yes.
the quest structure and everything like that between A Realm
Yes.
Reborn or
Yes.
between Heaven Sword and Stormblood?
Yes, there's a lot less of those bullshit like fetch quests where it's like,
Okay.
"Oh, go get me 5 apples cuz I want to make a pie." You know, like there's not none of that bullshit that fucking happens in like a Realm Reborn where characters just make you go do irrelevant things for no fucking reason because they just wanted to make content at that time. You know, the Heaven Sword patch quests were way better. They were a lot more story focused. They were still long to do. It took me multiple days to get through them all, but most of it was because there was just a lot of cutscenes. You know, it was just a lot of story cutscenes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're worth watching. There's a lot of really cool story arcs in there and character development and stuff. A lot of sad shit too. Actually, this game's like really sad, by the way. But so yeah, I think it does. I think they did a markedly better job with Heaven Sword's patch, like post game patch content, than a Realm Reborn's. But Montreal, in terms of other stuff, I guess in the game, I mean, I guess you just haven't experienced that much, right? Since you're just grinding right now.
Yeah, I haven't, unfortunately.
Okay, because I've been dabbling in like the gathering and crafting jobs, quite a bit, to be honest with you, and actually to the point where I've leveled the 2 gathering jobs higher than my bard at this point. I'm in like the mid 60s with both of them. But I really like the crafting and gathering in this game. Like I think it's like I don't think it's for everybody, but it's like it tries to not be so stupidly mindless, you know, the way it is in other MMOs. Like there's a thoughtfulness to it because your crafters have abilities and they level up the same way your martial classes do. And there's like a mini game with crafting, you know, where you have to like fill a progress bar to make something, and there's also a quality bar that you can fill up though, and you can get a high quality version of anything you make if you fill that far enough, and it gives you like a percentage chance based on how far you went to make a high quality item.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just I don't know, I think it's like it's not like riveting, it's not super fun, but for a game's crafting system, I like how thoughtful it is compared to other MMOs I played. Most MMOs are literally go get materials, walk up to whatever your like workbench is for your class or your crafting profession, and hit the craft button and you craft it. Like it's usually like that, you know. And this game's not like that really. I mean, you can do something called quick synthesis, which is the equivalent of that in the other games, but you have to have made the item once before you can do that. So there is a little bit of effort required. Plus, your chances of getting high quality items doing quick synthesis is way, way, way lower than normal. You know, so yeah, there's some thoughtfulness to it. I'm enjoying that as well. I really do. I'm like being very ambitious with this game. I want to do like everything you can do. You know, like I'm like I started looking into housing the other day, and that shit's fucking crazy. It's like there's like no houses available on our server, and it's gonna be a bitch to get one, from what I can tell. So, you know, but I'm just exploring the game. I'm looking forward to getting deeper with it. I hit level 63, I think, earlier. I think I'm close to 64 now, so I'm starting to make my way through Stormblood. So I'm kind of just gonna focus on grinding that until I hit 80. The rest of the story for that and Shadowbringers. So. But Montreal, anything else you want to say on Final Fantasy 14?
I just got to get through it, unfortunately, because I mean, like I said, I don't like the design concept of how they did the classes. Like, I don't like. I know World of Warcraft did this shit, and where you can't play the Dark Knight until you're like you have a level 50 character or whatever. But by time, I guess of King of Wrath or whatever, I can't. Lynch King came out. A lot of people already had level 50 characters. The problem is they don't do that. They do like if you have a level 50 warrior in World of Warcraft, you can just switch over to Dark Knight in that game, or Death Knight rather in that game, and continue from there.
You start at like 58, I think.
Yeah,
right?
You start at like 58 or something like that. So you don't really have to do a grind or anything like that. Whereas in this game, if you do, you have to be level 50 and you have to be a Heaven Sword. But then they bullshit you all the way down to fucking level 30 in the Dark Knight. So you gotta go through old content just to level up. And I hate that divine.
Which I don't get that. I don't know why they fucking did that, dude.
I don't like that either.
It's such like a dick punch. Because This is what happened to Montrell, and I think this is why he's struggling with this game, is that like he grinded through a Realm Reborn, and that was a slog for all of us. We were all complaining about it, like every night we're like complaining about that. But he finally gets through it, and he gets to Heavensward, and he goes to Ishgard to unlock Dark Knight, and then he gets Dark Knight, and he's level 30. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like you have to grind 20 levels in a Realm Reborn content to like play Dark Knight. Like what? Why did they do that? I don't understand why they did that. Because Samurai, I believe, starts at level 50. And you can unlock it at 50. So when you hit level 50, you can just go get it. And it starts at 50. And that's what Andy did. He got Samurai and just started doing Heavensward with Samurai. It's like, I don't know. It's just like, it seems like kind of a bad.
That makes sense. I don't know why they did that with Dark Knight, though. Like, they were like, oh, we're just going to put you at level 30. Yeah. It literally makes no sense whatsoever.
Right. It's shitty. Agreed. But hey, man, you're almost there. You only need 3 more levels, so you know you're making it. You're making it. But all right, well, unless you have anything else you want to talk about, Montreal, I think we've had a nice episode here, talking about E3 and stuff.
I'm good. I think it was a nice, solid episode.
All right, perfect. Well, so next week we will have more E3 coverage on the rest of the conferences. Nintendo, which I'm actually excited about. That hopefully they don't let me down the way Square did. And I think Capcom's got one, Bandai, Namco. So there's a few
after
interesting ones, but yeah.
After Square Enix, though, man, I don't know. It's kind of hard to be excited.
Yeah, to get excited. Yeah, I understand. But yeah, we'll cover them regardless, and we'll have more to talk about next week on E3. So look forward to that. If you like this episode, this particular one, please like the episode, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you are listening to it on. And please share it with your friends. We are still looking to grow the audience. If you'd like to interact with either of us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap4the Hokage for Montrell. That's the number 4, not the word. I'm at ThunderNut01, and the show is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to send us questions, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And that is it, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next week. All right, bye.